Okay, my mic is hooked up. I forgot to plug it in until like I'd already started the stream, so I didn't have time to check it. But anyway, I think it's working. Um, yeah, hi. Day two of Japan IVT. And yeah, I think the way that this is going is there's just going to be two more matches this weekend. I think I checked the bracket. Um, so I'll do those next week. But today we're going to get through the last three matches from this past weekend, starting with LM versus STR. And I'm going to hit play on the thing. And yes, I did add the scoreboard. That's why I was slightly delayed. I said I was going to be live in 10 minutes, and it was more like, I don't know, like 20 at least. Actually, I don't remember how long it took. But either way, yeah, I tried to get it going. We'll see how it works. I do have to like remember to keep it updated. So yeah, trial run on that. I'll try to make it look nicer, maybe, but also graphic design is not my passion, so yeah, I really like LM's. So yeah, speaking of graphic design and passion, I really do like LM's logo. And you can see it's the L and the M. Like the M is the head and the L is the body. I really respect that. But yeah, we've got our hunters. We've got two hunters on LM, LM BMC and LM Tsubachi. We've got for survivors LM Cab, LM ICQ, LM World, LM Yoneta, and LM Zeami. So a lot of backups on this team. I'm definitely really excited to see how they use the opportunity for kind of swapping out their lineup. So yeah, it's always fun. I did kind of talk about this last stream as well, but it's always fun to see teams that have that potential to kind of switch around, make sure that their survivors don't get too, or survivors and their hunter don't get too tired. But moving on to STR, we've got STR Eguite, STR Yanasa for our hunters. For our survivors, we've got Shu, Ryoga, 4TA5, which might be Atas, maybe. I don't know if it's supposed to be lead speak or not. And we've got Tarako and Paripi. So again, another team that got that has their backups in play. Definitely has a lot of substitution potential here. And I'm excited to see. You know, we're gonna have, I believe this does mean that we're gonna have round one hunter for both teams be different from round two and round three. So yeah, we'll see, but I'm excited. I am going to skip through this part just because it doesn't really tell us anything about the mains, and I can't read the stats. And overall, you know, these are, again, rank stats, so they're not totally indicative of how these survivors and hunters are going to play in a tournament setting, because it's very different from rank. You don't need to win every match, you just need to do better than the other team. So, yeah, win rate, all of that doesn't really apply in this context. Because these are all rank stats. Yeah, so I'm just going to skip through those in the interest of time and also preserving my voice because we have a lot of games to get through. But yeah, Aeroplanist being here is nice. Always fun to see an Aeroplanist chat favorite a little bit. But yeah, getting into the map bans and picks, it looks like we're banning, I think that's Sacred Heart. I honestly can't tell. I'm pretty sure they banned Sacred Heart, and in turn, we are going to get Red Church. So, not a bad map here, especially if we are looking at that round one opera singer. You do want to pick a map that's strong for her. So hopefully that pays off. But again, you are kind of allowing the opposing team to have that advantage with their opera singer. And I do believe both of these no, actually we haven't seen these teams yet. I was thinking because the next couple matches we are going to see repeat teams that we've already seen because we're heading into the semifinals after this. But yeah, anyway, getting into round one here, we're going to get our survivor bands up first. It'll definitely be interesting to see what these first two survivor bands are. Again, first two survivors picked are banned at the start of each round. First two survivors are permanently banned for the rest of the rounds. So we could see some strategic bans here, maybe something like a coordinator and gardener ban. Force LM survivors to pick something that's a little bit higher risk. But yeah, it looks like we are going to ban First Officer and Antiquarian, so we are probably looking at a opera singer here coming from STR. And it looks like we're going to lock in that coordinator and the dancer unless they don't decide to do that. But okay, yeah, they are going to lock in those choices. We've got a coordinator and a dancer here, two very strong characters. I'm a little bit disappointed to see the dancer coming out so quickly. I feel like if we are looking at an opera singer, she's a little bit more vulnerable just because she does rely a lot on tight kiting, and you can definitely do that, and especially on a map like Red Church, but it's much harder to do effective tight kiting against an opera singer. We're going to ban the Aeroplanist here and lock in the Gardener. So we are coming up with a pretty tanky team up, especially against an opera singer. We have the coordinator, we have the Gardener here, and we're banning the Mercenary. So I almost wonder if we're not going to... interesting. They're really expecting this opera singer here, but I wonder if with the Mercenary ban, we might not see an opera singer. Wildling's definitely an interesting pick here. I would have maybe gone with a different character, but the thing with Wildling here is that if it's not an opera singer, like, he can't really do much anyway. He's really just not chaseable. But yeah, I always worry about Wildling picks whenever he's picked. Just because he's so situational and he can be very effective. But he's also just, one of the harassers that suffers the most, I think, from, well, I will just ignore you, and then what are you gonna do about it? Wildling's definitely very vulnerable to that. So yeah, I understand they did want a pretty solid rescuer on the team. Wildling can be that. Okay, we're going to go with a Bonbon here, which honestly it's not a bad choice with this comp. You can kind of get rid of the Gardener fairly easily with the bombs. As long as this Bonbon is able to chain bomb effectively, I feel like this is going to be not the worst matchup here. Wildling is still annoying, but it does explain the Mercenary ban, because Mercenary is a somewhat effective rescuer against Bonbon. But yeah, just really wanting to get rid of those tanks here. First Officer being banned first was definitely good, as well as the Antiquarian. Antiquarian can break the bombs, so it's much more difficult to keep up that camp. So really just try, the bans here were really trying to knock off that camp game, or strengthen the Bonbon's camp game. So yeah, good bans for that. The picks here I feel like aren't really going to be able to do much against that Bonbon camp, so yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate for the survivors here. But they are all very strong kiters, so you don't really have to worry about rescuing if you're just able to kite the Bonbon. So it'll really just come down to that. How effective can these survivors be against the Guard 26? But yeah, we're going to get into our spawn picks here. We've got Gardener spawning in the center, Coordinator up at Reception, Wildling spawning in the Broken Walls, and Dancer spawning at Shack. So a very effective spawn here. Everyone is in a pretty strong area. The only thing, again, is that Bonbon as well does counter tight kiting. So having that Dancer possibly take that first chase, not great. It's not... it can definitely work. It's just, again, she is going to have a harder time tight kiting. She is going to have to transition away from her boxes. Ideally, I think if she's able to rotate into the graveyard, then she's pretty much set, because she can set up the boxes fairly safely, as well as just transition between them, and avoid the Bonbon that way. So yeah, Bonbon's a little bit less of an effective, controller of the area, especially at no presence. So if Dancer is the first chase here, I feel like she can set up herself up for success, but also that is just very dependent on, if she can kite Bonbon, etc. But we are going to see March Hare, and we are going to get right into it. So this is round 1 here, LM versus STR, and yeah, I don't remember the qualifiers, but I also am just bad with names, so yeah. If we've seen STR before, then I'm not sure, but yeah, we are going to get into it here. Nice use of the Tinnitus canceling by the Wildling. But it does look like we are going to spot out the Gardener. Was that the Gardener's trail? Yes, it was the Gardener here. Gardener does have a 6-9 build here. We've got Tide Turner and Broken Windows, so no borrowed time for the Gardener. We are going to be able to... It looks like we might be double kiting this, which is a little bit early. I feel like they are going to work on rotating away from this area. Bonbon wasting a lot of time here with those boxes, but it does leave the Dancer kind of lacking here. With one box remaining, other two have been broken. That is going to be little bit unfortunate just to have those resources wasted so early on. We are carrying Excitement on the Bonbon, so yeah, he has no fear going after the Coordinator here for our first chase. It's a little bit late of a first chase, though. Already we're seeing that those ciphers are passing 60%. Yeah, we're over a minute into the match, and we've just started to get our first hits. Excitement is going to pop and immediately downed. Coordinator not able to get out of the way of that bomb in time. That is very unfortunate, but very good for the Guard 26 here, you know, kind of being able to make up for that lost time. We're a minute and a half into the match, didn't start chasing somebody until about a minute 15. So that was like, what, a 15-second kite, give or take. Not very good there from the Coordinator. Obviously, you know, she was caught in an open area, and Guard 26 had Excitement, which she wouldn't have really known or had any way to know other than, you know, experience. But yeah, just a little bit unfortunate there. And yeah, it does not look like she has Flywheel. It looks like Wildling's actually carrying Flywheel. Yeah, they were definitely banking on the Opera Singer here. I feel like Guard 26 might have taken them a little bit off guard, but we are getting quite a bit of Cypher progress here while we wait for the Coordinator. Just kind of let her marinate on chair. She does have a, I believe, 20% longer chair time. So yeah, or it's either 10 or 20%. I don't actually remember how much it slows down, but yeah, definitely a lot of time to waste here. Just letting the Coordinator marinate on chair. I would say they could sell her. But I wouldn't. I don't think I would sell her. I think I would come rescue her last second just to waste time. But it does, you know, camping against a Bonbon is very risky. So if they are going to sell here, which isn't the worst option, especially if you are just aiming for a draw, hoping that your Hunter can get a 4-man elimination. It's definitely a good strategy here for LM. Just try as hard as possible to get as many survivors out the gate, even if you don't win, and then just hope your Hunter performs as well as possible. But we are going to find the Dancer here. We've got all 5 ciphers or more than 5 ciphers here have been started. Oh no, 5 ciphers have been started here. And we're just going to pop our first one. I think it desynced a little bit. But yeah, very good cipher progress, and a lot of cipher progress that could just be recovered immediately. So yeah, we're going to continue the chase here on the Dancer, trying to get that chain bomb through, and nicely done, catching her just on the edge of that chain, and she is going to go straight down. Yeah, this strategy is pretty effective. The problem is just that Bonbon's taking a pretty long time to find new targets, after, you know, after eliminating one survivor, but they are going to have to come in for this rescue. They don't really have a choice here, and it would definitely be ideal to get it before half, just because both survivors do have tied. They can waste a lot of time that way, and yeah, we are going to see Wildling coming in for this. A lot of bombs set up in the area, but this is a Wildling, so he can definitely go through the chain bomb here, but pushing away the Guard 26, and we are going to be able to get that rescue right before half. Very nicely done from the Wildling. He is going to go down with a very unfortunate wasted Flywheel there. Just a little bit off on the timing. We are at 1 cipher remaining. Guard 26 does have detention, so they will definitely have to reckon with that. Does have trump card as well, so that Excitement will be gone, assumed by the cipher pop. But yeah, we've got Wildling down. Female Dancer has been able to escape. Wow. And yeah, it looks like they may be trying to heal up. Wildling does have self-heal, so it does look like Bonbon lost sight of the survivors here. So Wildling can definitely heal up. Maybe no, it does look like Bonbon might run into him. Oh, but Wildling was able to heal up and immediately getting on that boar. We are going to get a hit on that boar, but of course, not really a problem here. And Wildling is gone, just taking off immediately. Bonbon has to find another target here. We're working on a new cipher, but it doesn't look like Guard 26 really knows where that is. Have we been able to find the shaking cipher? Not quite. Wildling's Tinnitus Disruption getting in the way here, but it does look like we've been able to track him down. He is slower than other survivors, so this is definitely, yeah, immediately catching those bombs, not able to run fast enough to get out of the way of them. And Wildling is going to be chaired here. We've got both two final ciphers on the go here at around 40-50%. So not the worst position to be in, but we are going to switch to teleport and get right on that Dancer, who is basically just one chip away from death. Nice dodge there, and an elbow pad as well from a chest. Just immediately going to transition over into this back walls area. But unfortunately, just the edge of that chain bomb, nicely done there from Yanasa. And that rescue did go off, but of course that is a wasted Tide Turner from the Gardener, so not the best situation there. Yeah, just a little bit unfortunate that that Tide Turner was wasted, but they can definitely turn this into a draw. It's going to be a scrape, and a long one, but this is still a draw situation. They have pretty healthy ciphers, as long as they're able to kite. If they don't get Dancer off chair, which I feel like they may not be able to get this rescue, especially since it is Wildling on the primed cipher, that's going to take quite a bit of time to pop here. Gardener can't take another hit, but it does look like we're going to be able to just go ahead and get that rescue. Both survivors are down, unfortunately, and that cipher is not quite primed yet. This might just end up being a one-man escape, if that. Yeah, Wildling is just going to pop that cipher, make sure that those gates can be opened, but... Oh, it looks like we might have seen the shadow of the Wildling in the distance. Yeah, Guard 26 changing targets here, heading for that Wildling. We are looking for a 4-man elimination. Obviously, this is round 1. But getting as many points as possible on the board just to start the round is never a bad thing. So really looking for these last couple eliminations. A lot of bombs used there, but they are recharging very quickly, so not too much of an issue. But Wildling does still have quite a bit of time on that board. Not as much time as it would be. The board does reduce the riding time the more times that it's used, so that is almost out here. Guard 26 does have detention, not that that matters too much though, because, I mean, we are working with 2 injured survivors right now, but we are going to take 1 chip hit there, and it does look like, no, we're actually able to dodge that with a nice flywheel. Guard 26 just teleporting to the other gate, trying to make sure that they cannot get out. That is the main focus here, but Wildling was kiting around that reception, so I feel like this is going to be a one-man escape. Dungeon is here as well, so if Gardener is able to contain, we could see possibly a draw. That gate is at about 70%. It'll only take probably about maybe 8 more seconds to open. So yeah, less than that. That gate is open. Gardener does have a bubble here. Are we going to be able to get out? It looks like, oh, but we're downed. Is she going to be able to crawl out the dungeon? No, that is going to be a one-man escape here. But so close there for LM survivors. Just very, very well done there by the Guard 26 to really just seal things off. Keeping as much pressure on the map. I feel like it definitely paid off in the end. I was a little bit worried with how long it was taking to find targets. But on a map as small as Red Church, you know, you can find survivors a little bit more easily. And that really did just, you know, serve the Guard 26 here. But I am going to put in the score. So we've got LM survivors with 1 point here. I'm just going to put that in the first slot. And we've got 3 points here to STR's Hunter. So yeah, for that's how I'm going to do it here. I'm just gonna have like one. The columns aren't really going to represent either faction specifically. I don't think. It'll really just keep track of the score. Anyway, yeah. But looking at the stats here, we've got quite a bit of containment on all survivors, as well as a good bit of decoding. And yeah, that was actually a 15-second kite there from the coordinator. So I guess my math was correct on how long she had kited for. Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. I feel like if coordinator had been able to kite longer, that would have definitely been a draw. Because they were in a draw situation for most of it. It was just the gate pressure, not quite being able to open either one, that really, you know, and it was just luck, really, at the end there. If Gardener had gone down at a slightly different angle, then that would have been, you know, GG's. But, yeah, very, very close there. But, close or not, that is still a win there for STR. But heading into the second game, if I can find where I'm going. All right, I jumped a little bit ahead, I think, but we're going to see our first two survivor bands are the gardener and the female dancer, and we're going to lock in a perfumer as well as a antiquarian. So they're definitely looking for that opera singer here with a little bit of an off-meta pick. I'm kind of surprised to see the perfumer coming out here. She isn't commonly or as commonly used against opera singer, but always excited to see a perfumer. And it looks like we're going to see mercenary as our third pick, which is kind of interesting. If they're going for opera singer counter, then it would be first officer. Mercenary has kind of fallen down in the ranks lately. Oh, and we're going to see our first cheerleader. I do think this is actually the first cheerleader of Japan IVT. So yeah, welcome to the stage, I guess. Very excited to see how this team is able to utilize her. We've been seeing more and more cheerleader very slowly and very gradually. Kind of coming up in the rankings, but I definitely anticipate seeing a lot of her as we get more into KOA qualifiers, into KOA itself. I feel like it's going to be year of the cheerleader. Cheerleader, aeroplanist, that sort of thing. Yeah, I feel we're in for it. We're in for it. But yeah, there's going to be cheerleader, perfumer, mercenary, and antiquarian. I'm worried about that mercenary. If we are looking at an opera singer pick here, which again, it could be anything, you never know. We just saw Agar26 in round 1, but working with that opera singer here, it's definitely what STR is expecting, but that mercenary is scaring me, especially post nerf. There's not a lot he can do on the containment side. He can definitely still rescue, but against an opera singer, she is so versatile. She has such map control, and on a map as small as Red Church, she really has that map control. There's just not as much containment that the mercenary can do, because his dash is basically rendered useless. But we are going to see the opera singer coming out here. So yeah, mercenary in danger. I would say it's not... It could be worse, but it could be better of a comp here. Because, you have the antiquarian, but she is very situational. You have cheerleader, but opera singer can catch up. And cheerleader is very vulnerable when she is slow after her dash. But it really does just depend on the coordination of these survivors, if they're able to kind of anticipate and play against the opera singer, and also the individual skill of the opera singer herself, because she is, we have seen time and time again the difference between an opera singer who is very confident versus an opera singer who is playing her because she's opera singer. So I guess we will see. And that is always, that really is the most interesting part of watching opera singer to me, is, the style in which they play her, how fast they are with the dashes, kind of the little things that you can pay attention to. But we're going to get our spawns in here. We've got cheerleader spawning in the church, perfumer kind of baiting that first chase over by the shack, mercenary in the walls. Mercenary's a little bit in danger here. I feel like we could definitely chase mercenary first, and antiquarian over near the graveyard. I feel, we could chase merc first here. That wouldn't be the worst option. I feel like the only thing that would really get in the way is the fact that there are a lot of walls there. There's a lot of pallets. There's a lot of areas for him to just kind of hide. But that's the same for any survivor in that area. And mercenary does have a little bit less opportunity to get away, especially against an opera singer. So yeah, I would say we'll probably see perfumer be the first chase, but if Subachi wants to go for mercenary, it wouldn't be the worst option in the world. And it would also very likely knock their tide turner off. Against an opera singer, teams do tend to carry double tide, so I mean, obviously we can't see the persona webs yet, but I would definitely be curious to see if they are going to go with that double tide turner strategy. Yep, it does look like we've got tide turner on both the mercenary and the antiquarian. Antiquarian carrying tide turner and broken windows with no borrowed time. And we've got broken windows on both the perfumer and on the cheerleader. So yeah, cheerleader is basically just a speed machine here. And it looks like we're actually going to run into her first. Subachi taking a little bit of a roundabout route here, really looking to catch up with that cheerleader, or maybe not. We're going to switch targets here, heading for the Antiquarian over near where it looks like we've got somebody decoding here. I can't quite tell who it is yet, but a nice disarm there, safely being able to drop that pallet and just continue this chase. We're going to see 3-9 coming into play here, as well as the stick for that speed boost. Antiquarian getting a lot of distance here, playing around a little bit as well with that pushback. But ooh, a little bit close there. If that was a vault, that would have absolutely been a terror shock, but nice usage of the stick there from the Antiquarian. Just really keeping up this distance, and another beautiful disarm just for another few seconds. I think we are not going to be able to, but oh, we're missing that hit, and it is going to be a terror shock after all. That was very, very close there from the Antiquarian, but wow. Wow. The Antiquarian is going to go down, and a little bit early. That was just over a minute into the match, but there's not a lot. Well, I mean, there's definitely good Cypher progress here, but no, one Cypher over 70%. I think that with their rotation, they did take a little bit longer to start decoding, which, you know, they can definitely make up for lost time, but it is a little bit unfortunate that Antiquarian did take that terror shock. If Antiquarian had taken a basic hit there, that kite definitely would have been extended a lot longer. It is what it is. That definitely was kind of playing with fire. But yeah, Opera Singer's hitbox is just too fast to really be safe during that backswing. So yeah, I guess it is just trial and error. We are going to see Mercenary a little bit in the area here, as well as Cheerleader. But of course, Cheerleader is just going to be able to run away pretty easily. Because she is Cheerleader. But Mercenary coming in for this rescue at the last second. Opera Singer knows he's here, but it looks like, oh, able to get the body block. Nicely done there with that clean rescue, you know, still able to take a body block. Not the end of the world. We've got, no easy heals on the team, but, you know, with 2 team members still very much alive and awake, and intact, Mercenary can heal up pretty comfortably. But another beautiful disarm there. We are going to be out of that staff, though. Antiquarian with nothing to work with here, other than obviously the broken windows and knee-jerk reflex, but is just going to go down in front of this pallet. Yeah, just a little bit unfortunate that that Tide Turner is not going to get to be used. They, effectively, you know, it is what it is. It's a gamble with bringing multiple Tide Turners that if you're, you know, and it's a gamble with bringing any Tide Turner. As soon as you get chased first with Tide Turner, it's kind of useless. But it is what it is. Antiquarian is going to be eliminated here. We've got our last 3 ciphers started with quite a bit of progress on at least 2 of them. Third one lagging a little bit behind. But having that progress on the field is always better than not having that progress on the field. So still very good place here. We're in a very good place here for STR. They can definitely still get a draw out of this. We do have excitement, which I feel like we're probably going to switch off soon. I'm kind of surprised. Well, I mean, I guess it worked out. I guess the excitement did work out during the Antiquarian's initial chase, but I am a little bit surprised that we brought excitement and not Blink. Because Antiquarian was the only stunner and you can kind of maneuver around her. So either way, I guess it was respect to the Antiquarian, but nicely done with that mind game here from the Cheerleader and the Opera Singer, just playing around that palette. Going to continue this chase. We're at 1 Cypher remaining now. Cypher is at 37%. It looks like we're actually just going to abandon that Cypher and start a new one a little bit further away from the action. And doubling back here, just trying to make sure that that Cypher is not being decoded. We've got a new one passing about 20% here. Yeah, with that accelerated decoding, that is going to be able to go pretty quickly. But it looks like Opera Singer changing targets entirely to pressure that Cypher. Not looking to switch traits yet, though. We could definitely switch to teleport around now, maybe even abnormal. Cyphers don't really have enough progress to warrant an abnormal switch yet, and I think that might be what Opera Singer is waiting for, but nicely done with that heavy hit just to bait out the Perfume. That really is where Perfumer kind of struggles. But ooh, and just going to get that Perfume up again here, playing the waiting game, waiting around that pallet. Is Perfumer wearing the... Which B tier is that? Is it a C tier? I can't tell. I'll think about that later. It is the C tier. It's the blue C tier. Anyway, that's completely off topic. We're going to finally get that teleport switch in. And Mercenary... Was that a Perfume? I think that may have been a Perfume. But yeah, Mercenary taking that hit and is unfortunately going to go down, even after... Was that a perfume? I genuinely didn't see. But yeah, perfumes are always fun with Mercenary. It's kind of an unexpected thing here. I guess he had to have gotten that out of a chest, but yeah, Mercenary is going to be on the ground here. He does still have self-heal, but of course, you know, it is a Mercenary. Hunters will see a Mercenary, leave him to bleed out for the majority of the match. Just kind of is how the cookie crumbles. But we are going to find, it looks like, was that the Perfumer once again? Yes, it is. She is going to use her last perfume there, but is going to be able to transition over to the church. Right now, it really is just a matter of wasting the survivors' resources, forcing them to not decode here is the biggest thing. And yeah, none of them are able to decode. They are just running around trying to pick each other up, trying to reset. Mercenary has used his self-heal now. Does have another perfume, though. I don't know how he's getting these, but I almost wonder if the reason that they're a little bit behind on ciphers is because they've been trying to get Mercenary all these perfumes, which is a little bit unfortunate there. But yeah, we are going to get, once again, ooh, nicely done on that pallet stun. Great job by Cheerleader, just playing around there and taking full advantage of that speed boost. That really is what I feel like we're going to be seeing more and more of. A little bit unfortunate there, slightly over-predicted with that vault. And Cheerleader is going to go down. But, okay, we are going to start chairing here. So Cheerleader on her first chair, she has used her self-heal, so we could have left her on the ground, but I think Opera Singer getting a little bit conscious of that Cypher progress and immediately teleporting back, but again with that perfume, nicely done from the Mercenary. Just very, very good at those perfumes. Unfortunately, not as good at those pallet drops. We are just going to get hit directly through that. And that is kind of the downside of playing Mercenary, especially post-nerf here, just going to immediately go down there. We've got that last Cypher being worked on, but Teleport coming into play, Perfumer taking the kite, and a Terror Shock once again, just getting caught on that vault. Just a little bit unfortunate there, and I do keep saying that, but it is, you know? And it is what it is. Things happen in a match, and they are unfortunate. And it's not, you know, it's not really a marker of skill or anything, it's just things happen, and sometimes... It's less, I don't want to... And this is something I do in commentary, and also just in the game in general. I like thinking about things in terms of, like, the other player is better versus the player who made a mistake is worse. I feel like it's just a more productive way to think about it. But wow, nicely done with that mind game with the heavy hit there. That is the fun thing about Opera Singer. You can really play a lot because she requires such fast reflexes. You can really play around with the heavy hit, baiting survivors into flywheel, baiting survivors into perfume, owls, vaults. You can really do a lot with that heavy hit because survivors are forced to react so quickly against the basic hit. Throwing them off a little bit, changing up the rhythm is one of the most effective Opera Singer skills that you can have. You know what's bothering me and has been bothering me throughout this entire like IVT thing is that the team comp in the background has 3 decoders and an antiquarian. What the hell? Like, why did they do that? Anyway, that was a 4-man elimination, so I need to update the score. And that's going to be, we've got, okay, 5 points to LM, so that's going to be a total of 6-3 here, coming out of round 1. And again, you know, that is what I was saying earlier about the difference between, you know, rank and tournament gameplay. The first round was not a win. The first round, or the first game, was a loss for LM survivors. You know, they only got 1 escape. But because their Hunter 4-man eliminated, they still win the round. So in that sense, you know, it's more like 5v5. I mean, it literally is 5v5. I don't know why I said that. But as long as you win, as long as one of you wins better than the other team has won, then you're good. But yeah, we are going to get into round 2. Yeah, we're gonna get into round 2 here. I don't know why I'm so scrambled right now, but you know what? It's fine, and we're rolling with it. I really don't like that team comp, though, in the background. the lineup for IJL was fine. Or IVL. The lineup for, yeah, I think it was IVL when they had Prisoner, Enchantress, Professor, Entomologist. I mean, Prisoner's always a little bit weird, but I do like how they just keep using Prisoner for these promo things despite, like, absolutely not being meta. But, okay, anyway, enough of me talking about nothing. We're going to get into round 2 here. We've got our first 2 Survivor bands coming up from STR Hunter, who STR is hunting first. A little bit of ground to recover here from that first round, but new Hunter. So yeah, new expectations on the table. So yeah, we're going to see Priestess and Antiquarian banned first here, which honestly doesn't really tell us anything. What we can see from here is that the Hunter does not want to see a Priestess on Sacred Heart Hospital, which is normal. A normal insane reaction to have to having to play on Sacred Heart Hospital, because that's the thing here. Actually, I who picked Sacred Heart? I thought I had the map ban pick here, but I guess I didn't. Who picked? Okay, so LM picked Sacred Heart Hospital, which is smart here because they are in the lead. So wanting to kind of extend that lead, they've already established that their survivors can get one escape versus no escape from their hunter. So if they're able to, kind of maintain that power over the other team's hunter, and kind of, at this point it really just is a matter of banking on your survivors to get more escapes than the other team. So if LM survivors, are able to get a draw, a 3-man escape even, on a survivor-sided map, then they, they'll still be in the lead heading into the end of round 2, round 3, etc. But they're in a winning they're in a good position here. I wouldn't say it's a winning position, especially since, it was the matter of one escape that determined the first round. But yeah, looking at this comp, I feel like they might be expecting a Geisha. This is a very strong counter Geisha comp. Yeah, we've got Seer, Mercenary, Patient, and Acrobat. This is basically just got no Geisha written all over it. So I do wonder if we could see maybe a Chip Hunter, someone, maybe a second Bonbon, maybe a Breaking Wheel, but I feel like that would be kind of dangerous on Sacred Heart. It's very difficult to determine, Sacred Heart hunters because there aren't a lot of hunters that are very good on Sacred Heart. I would say Bonbon. I wouldn't, maybe Hermit. I would definitely be excited to see a Hermit, but okay, we are going to see Nightwatch. I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised if it's Nightwatch, but I wouldn't really agree with playing Nightwatch against this comp especially. I feel like it's very dangerous to pull out the Nightwatch. You've got Acrobat, who can just bomb out of the way of the wind. Patient and Mercenary as well can elbow pad or hook. Patient a little bit better at getting out of the wind, and then you have Seer, who can just, owls, and you're a single hit hunter. I feel like this is a comp that is very good against Geisha, which means it's a comp that's very good against Nightwatch because they do kind of share counters. But yeah, Seer is definitely good for presence. And you can catch up very quickly after, that first hit. But yeah, that's the thing. It really does depend on how the Seer is utilized. If the Seer's first chase, if the Seer is able to do support, it's very, and especially on a map like Sacred Heart, I feel like Seer's support can be very strong because all it'll take is one hit to really transition into a new area. Yeah. Not very fun for a hunter, especially not very fun for a Nightwatch who already is kind of struggling in this meta. So yeah, I'm a little bit concerned, but like we have seen Nightwatches perform well on Sacred Heart, even post-nerf. So it really just has to do with these survivors' individual skill. These are characters that take skill to play. And you can't just kind of, cheerleader it, but sorry. Yeah. Anyway, it's not, I would say best case scenario draw. Because that's the thing, Nightwatch can definitely secure a draw. It's just, that's all you can really secure with a Night Watch. It's a little bit like playing Disciple on a map like this. It's like, cool, you can secure a draw. Naiad as well. It's like, you can secure a draw. We need a little bit more than a draw in this situation, though. And it looks like we're going to at least pretend to chase the Mercenary first. I feel like we are going to see a pretty rapid target switch here, especially as Mercenary immediately transitions into the hospital. You don't really want to stay on the Mercenary, but actually a nice bait there, forcing the Mercenary out of the hospital. And kind of anticipating that choice as well. So nice job from the Hunter. Getting a little bit tripped up on that chair, and that's going to be immediately Mercenary just heading upstairs, getting a lot of distance on this Night Watch. Already, we're nearly a minute into the match. We haven't really been able to catch up to Mercenary enough to get that first hit. And with the Cypher Rush that we're seeing on this team, yep, there goes our that is our third elbow pad. So we are out of elbow pads, which means that Night Watch can catch up much easier, but without Insolence here, it's really not going to be easy. And yeah, changing targets here, Mercenary just rotating immediately back into that hospital. It's a lost cause. We are going to run into Patient though, but Patient as well can just gain distance on this Night Watch. And here is the Owl. Night Watch not wanting to hit it. It looks like, yeah, just not wanting to kind of waste time on it, which honestly, I feel like we could have afforded to hit the Owl. It's 30% less attack recovery. It would give Patient time to transition, but I mean, already we're seeing that transition time used right now. Patient just heading back towards the hospital here. We're not going to get that speed boost off the vault. I don't think we did. But either way, we are going to take our first hit there. Blink coming into play, but a beautiful hook there just to continue to keep that distance. Patient gaining, again, distance away from this Night Watch. We got 4 ciphers remaining. All 4 ciphers have been started here. And we are about to be at 3 ciphers, so dungeon will be unlocked. We're kiting a little bit into the Seer here, but that does give Seer a little bit of time to stick around, farm another owl, maybe. Farm another couple of owls. We're going to just drop that pallet here, assist the kite. Seer taking a hit, and that is going to be Night Watch's first presence unlocked. But we're at 4 ciphers remaining, very nearly 3 ciphers remaining, with those last 3 ciphers having about 40% progress on each of them, which isn't bad. It's not as scary as it could be, but it's definitely very intimidating. We do almost have accelerated decoding in effect in about 20 seconds, so that is going to make that Cypher Rush much worse. But the thing here is that we haven't been able to chair yet. And those ciphers have been on the move. We've wasted a good amount of survivor resources. We've wasted out that owl. Patience used all of his hooks. Mercenaries used all of his elbow pads. Acrobats, intact. An Acrobat can definitely come in, take the final kite, and have all of those resources to use. And LM can definitely, if they're able to position themselves like that, that would be very, very good for them. But Mercenary getting a free rescue here. Night Watch getting a little bit distracted. We are going to get the hit in on the Mercenary, so he's not going to be able to rescue again. But we do have Acrobat still up and coming, and we're nearly at 1 cipher remaining. Those 2 out of 3 of those ciphers are about to pop here. Or we might just be leaving that one. I believe that 97% cipher is the one that Seer was forced to abandon in the shack. It looks like we're actually going for the double down, and Mercenary getting terror shocked out of that decoy. That's a little bit, that's not good for LM here. They could definitely be in a worse position, but this is not a good one. I do think we've actually lost the Patient as well, so that's not great for Night Watch. If we were able to keep track of Patient, this would be a much better position, but because we don't know where Patient is right now, that's gonna be a little bit painful. Just because you're not able to get that double chair. But it looks like Acrobat taking the chase here, playing a little bit around here. Nice job with that, firebomb, but it actually looks like Night Watch was able to get the dash up before the bomb canceled the skill, so nicely done on that from Night Watch. It looks like we're actually going to stuff this rescue, maybe, yes, no? Ooh, barely just missing that, and we're going to teleport back to the chair, but right after that rescue goes off, Mercenary getting a second terror shock here on that vault, which is a little bit unfortunate. That Patient wasn't able to body block, but honestly, probably for the best, because Patient has no self-heal. It's good that this wasn't a double down situation, because I feel like if Patient had been hit, then Night Watch would go after the Mercenary, but that is our first elimination here. We've got all survivors that have health, but that Cypher is primed. They are just going to pop it. Nightwatch not on any target here, and they have plenty of time. It looks like they do have a survivor at the gate as well, which is probably what they were waiting for, to pop it. But yeah, this does look like, at the very least, a draw situation. Nightwatch getting a little bit turned around here. Does have tinnitus, but it doesn't look like... Okay, yeah, we have seen this here. That's a little bit unfortunate here. But they do have that draw secured, pretty much. They could get a 3-man escape out of this, especially if Seer is able to find Dungeon in time. We don't have another Owl, and oh, that's a little bit close! Cutting it up very, very, very close on that pallet vault. But Seer's still able to make it work. We don't have an Owl yet. Are we going to be able to get an Owl? No! Caught right on the edge of that hitbox. We are just going to have those survivors escape, secure the tie, and surrender. But not bad there. Definitely a respectable result here for LM survivors. And that's exactly what I was saying. You know, Nightwatch can secure a draw. Not much else, but Nightwatch can definitely secure that draw. And that is, I suppose, what STR was looking for. It's not quite what they need right now, but it's definitely safer than taking the risk of, say, a Hermit. And yeah, I feel like I definitely understand where they were going with this, because it's better to have that draw. I'm just putting the score in, so I have to focus on typing. There we go. Yeah, it's better to, you know, have that draw, have something, you know, pretty much guaranteed, than it is to take the risk. You know, high risk, high reward is something like Hermit. And you could definitely, you know, risk getting 3-manned. If the dungeon had spawned there, that would have been a 3-man. So it was just a little bit unlucky dungeon spawn, but, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, but that is going to be that match. We've got, you know, pretty respectable skills across the board. Over 200% decoding on both the Seer and the Acrobat, so, and only 50% decoding on the Patient and the Mercenary, which, to be fair, they were doing a lot of other things, but that is just kind of funny. Yeah. Yeah, not much else I can say about that match. It was pretty much just, you know, cut and dry, Cypher Rush, draw. It was a very normal match. There wasn't, you know, nothing crazy happened, which isn't a bad thing. But it's not a bad thing for LM. It's a kind of a bad thing for STR, because it does mean that they need to kind of push more, and try to get this above a tie. If they tie here, then it goes to round 3. If STR is able to win here, then we'll go to round 3, and they will have won a round. If they lose this, they have to get a draw here, bare minimum. We're going to ban the Seer and the Professor. It looks like we are working with the same hunter, I think, from LM. I actually don't remember. But I think that's the same hunter. Maybe. Now I'm second guessing myself, but either way, yeah, banning Seer and Professor first. They wouldn't try to bait out Dream Witch here, would we? Because you wouldn't want to play Dream Witch on Sacred Heart. That's kind of a death sentence. But okay, yeah, and STR going with kind of semi-neutral picks here, you know, banning the Opera Singer, immediately locking in. It does, you know, either way you spin it, even if it's not a Dream Witch, Subachi's looking to lock out those single-hit Hunter counters, so locking in the Mercenary, locking in the Acrobat, definitely good first picks here, and very aggressive first picks here as well. You know, Mercenary's not going to be accessible in round 3. If STR wins this round, wins this match, then we're going to, wins or draws this match, then we're going to round 3 automatically. But yeah, Priestess is going to be banned 3rd here, which I do understand them not taking the Priestess, because they did want to have like more specific solo kiting counters. But I would have liked to see a Priestess on Sacred Heart. I feel like that would definitely have been like an aggressive pick that they could have used in their advantage. Either way, we're going to lock in the Dancer here for our 3rd pick. Again, really looking for those single hit Hunter counters. If Subachi was looking to play Dream Witch, I would say that's probably not happening at this point, but we could. but we could. Acrobat survives the meta because he has that built-in flywheel. Oh yeah, we're going hard on that Dream Witch counter here. And possibly like Dream Witch, Geisha, Night Watch. We're really looking to counter those single hit hunters. Yeah, with that psychologist pick, we're looking at a very tanky team and a team that is very strong against single hit hunters. A little bit vulnerable to chip hunters though. And speaking of vulnerable to chip hunters, Matthias is out and active and available, and I had no idea about this until last night in duos when he appeared, and I was like, what is that thing? But we've found out that is going to be a Geisha, which is a little bit interesting because we are working with a pretty strong team against a Geisha. I wonder if the strategy here is to just take the draw and go to round 3. Because I think both teams are playing this round a little bit safe because LM can go to round 3 just fine. And if they tie this, then they're still in a good position. They still have the advantage from round 1. So if they go into round 3, they just have to either draw or win round 3. All they need here is to secure a tie, which I think is the strategy right now. You know, go with something that is kind of countered, but still has, you know, the map potential, and kind of the game sense, and the kit required to secure a tie. But it's a little bit risky, I feel like. But a strong enough Geisha can definitely, you know, play for a tie here. It looks like we might be going after Acrobat first, I would say, which isn't the worst case scenario. Yeah, I mean, it really is just going... I feel like this is going to be very similar to the previous match, where it's just very standard. Nothing really out of the ordinary is going to happen. They're playing... And I like it. I like it. They're playing very kind of circling each other, especially because Sacred Heart is such a survivor-sided map. You really do... It's a risk to pick it. It's a risk to play on it, but it's a risk to pick it as well, just because, you know, your hunter still has to play on this map, and it's not a good map. That really is kind of the end-all be-all of Sacred Heart Hospital, is that, you know, it's a great pick for your survivors. It's a really tough pick for your hunter, and if you're in kind of this neutral situation where the other team was able to get a draw, then, you know, it is what it is. But we're going to get right into it. Looks like we're going to head in the direction of the Dancer. It's a little bit interesting that we're going through this area. And a little bit scary. It's because this is a very strong area for survivors, especially for someone like a Dancer who can... yeah, we're going to see our first pirouette here immediately, just transitioning over into this other paletted area by the statue, and a second slow box deployed here. We've got no slow boxes left, so yeah, already we are out of resources, and I feel like this may be playing into Geisha's hands just a little bit. Looks like we are going to get our first hit in there. Flywheel not off cooldown yet. We're under a minute into the match for that first hit, but it does give Dancer plenty of time to transition back into those boxes that she set up earlier. This is still a very strong kiting area, and it does look like we've actually undershot that butterfly a little bit, so that is going to be a bit of a wasted resource. We've got butterflies on cooldown for another about 8-10 seconds, so... yeah, that was kind of a crucial misstep here, wasting a lot of time, not able to catch up to the Dancer just yet, but Dancer a little bit off timing with that flywheel is going to go down right through that pallet. Yeah, I guess she probably got thrown off by that heavy hit, so once again, we are seeing, you know, kind of the opera singer strategy of using that heavy hit, and playing with the survivors when they know that they need to have fast reflexes for that fast hitbox. But Mercenary is coming in for the rescue here well before half. We do have, you know, pretty healthy Cypher progress right now, but it looks like we might be trying to just get this before half. Yeah, just going to go for that hit, make sure we get the hit on the Mercenary. Don't want to give a free rescue. Even if it is before half, you know, you still want to be able to get that damage on the board, especially post-nerf Mercenary. I keep saying this, but it is still very true. Mercenary taking less time to go down is very, very helpful. Especially in situations like this where you want to have as much kind of distributed damage as possible. And Blink is going to come out here. We're going to use that just to get the Dancer down a little bit faster. We do have trump cards, so it can definitely switch to teleport here just to secure that draw. It looks like we're actually going to do that right away. So not wanting to give these survivors really any opportunity to get more than a draw here. Switching to teleport early not only means that we can pressure the gates when the Cypher pops, but it also means that we can pressure the Cyphers and teleport to each of them, especially once Dancer is eliminated. So a lot of just forward thinking here from Subachi, and very fun. A lot of fun thinking. But yeah, we are going to continue the chase on the Dancer. Dancer is just going to go down here with not really anything to work with. Got 2 Cyphers remaining. Last Cypher is just being started, but yeah, this is very much just looking like a draw. Unless we're able to pressure the Cyphers enough to get a 3-man elimination, or a 4-man elimination. I mean, that's definitely possible here. I would want to see how their Cyphers are distributed though, because I can't tell if they're Cypher locked. I don't think they are though, but I also can't see enough of the map to really tell. But they are in a position here to get a draw just because there are 3 survivors left. No survivor has been on chair either, and Psychologist still needs 2 hits. Well, we're gonna get our first one there. But yeah, the Cyphers are moving just a little bit slowly right now, obviously, because Mercenary is on the Cypher. Yeah, that is going to go a little bit slowly. A position that they're looking to get. Well, no, because Acrobat's going to go rescue, and I'm thinking very ahead right now. Nice flywheel. Beautiful, beautiful flywheel. And we are going to use that teleport here, going right onto the Acrobat. Unfortunate that it was the Acrobat and not the Mercenary. If we teleported onto the Mercenary, he could have gone down much faster. But Acrobat still needs another hit to get down. And dodging that Ice Bomb there. Not wanting to get that slow pallet break. But are we going to be forced to go through it? Doesn't look like it, actually. Acrobat taking full advantage of this area. Team now knows where Dungeon is, but also so does Geisha. And nice use of Geisha's hitbox, really getting on the edge of the fan there. Downing the Acrobat. We've got good progress on those 3 remaining Cyphers, but obviously Geisha knows exactly where they are, and they are well within range of the chair. But it does look like we've got both Cyphers working at once. Mercenary just has to be careful here, because we can very much just stuff this rescue if it comes to it. But Mercenary able to elbow pad past. Are we going to be able to get this hit in? Getting the hit in there, but we can't pop just yet. Mercenary is going to go down very shortly, though, so what Geisha can do here is just pressure it, as long as they don't pop the Cypher right away. But no, we're going to get a little bit of greedy. Cypher's not actually primed yet. Are we going to be able to prime the Cypher is the real question. They might be trying to kind of link up and heal. Is that what we're doing? Yeah, okay, Psychologist is finishing that Cypher. Mercenary playing around here, but has to be very, very careful. Oh no, that's not Mercenary. Mercenary's on the chair. Acrobat, yeah. Even more careful, though, because 1 hit and you're down. Cypher is primed now, though. And not quite able to get the hit in yet. Acrobat able to get very close to the chair. I think Geisha might be getting a little bit stressed here. Going to have a 3-survivor endgame, but this is definitely, we're still well within draw territory, which is what LM is kind of, worst case scenario looking for. So we're still in a good position for LM. Not a good position for STR. And very much they need to play just a little bit aggressively here for that draw, but Psychologist is going to get pressured off of this gate. This could definitely turn into a 3 or even a 4-man elimination if they're not careful here. Mercenary being chaired near the gate, but it looks like we are going to be able to get that rescue down. Geisha getting a little bit afraid. Psychologist able to get the gate open, flywheeling out the gate. That is a little bit risky, just a little bit risky. Are we going to be able to find the other survivors in time? All of them know where Dungeon is. We can definitely sneak around here, but it does look like Acrobat might get caught out. We still have over a minute left in detention, so that's definitely a lot of time for these survivors to have to waste, and we have found the Acrobat. So, oh, using the teleport to avoid the firebomb and just going straight for that gate. We're not even going to worry about where the mercenary is right now. We already have, we have that 1-man elimination. We need to focus on getting that second one. Acrobat heading towards that dungeon here. We don't have Flywheel just yet. We got another 30 seconds on it, but just not quite able to vault that Paladin in time. It looks like that actually registered as a slow vault. Classic mobile problems. But yeah, Mercenary in the back of the gate here. This is going to be a draw, which is safer than a loss here. You know, if Mercenary did not get out the gate, that would have been over here for STR. But it's not an unwinnable situation here. With a tie in round 2. You know, with a tied up round 2. It's not a bad situation to be in. But it's definitely much better for LM because they're still in the lead. They still have, that first round in their favor by 3 points, which is definitely STR can regain those points and win in the third round. But between morale as well as, just the pre-existing advantage, LM does. They do have the edge coming into round 3. But with that, we are going to get into it. We have no map bans coming in round 3, so it will just be the map pick. But I am very interested to see what we pick here. I do think STR has the map pick, so they will want to pick a map that is kind of on their side, something they can really use to their advantage, and something that hopefully LM can't use to the advantage. So it does look like STR is going to play Chinatown, which is a little bit worried about that Chinatown pick because it's a very strong map for so many different hunters. We've already seen, they will be likely banning, Geisha and Nightwatch, both of which are very good on this map. But I'm interested to see what they play because we could see so many hunters on this map. We could see Hermit, we could see Clown, we could see Lizard, God forbid. We could see Wax Artist, also very good. Breaking Wheel, very good. It's a map that's good for so many hunters, as well as good for so many survivors. You have the Priestess to deal with, Toy Merchant. I wonder if they will lock in a Toy Merchant here, especially with that Priestess Antiquarian ban. They do have a lot of single hit counters off the table though, so I wouldn't be surprised if we come out with a Geisha. Nightwatch will probably be banned here unless they're more worried about something like a Geisha, maybe a Wax Artist. But I would be surprised if Nightwatch isn't banned, especially since Chinatown is one of his best maps. And we've seen, that Egwite is a good Nightwatch. Yeah, we are going to ban that Nightwatch and the Opera Singer, and it looks like we're going to lock in Embalmer and Entomologist. So wanting to stay away from that Clown, I would say, is what we are looking for with that Entomologist pick. She's also good against Hermit. Good against, not that good against Wax Artist. A little bit good against Wax Artist. Good against Axe Boy, who is good on this map. Ripper, I don't think we would see a Ripper, though. Maybe we would see a Ripper. But probably less than we would see a Lizard in this day and age. We're going to... wait, I do actually... Is this why I remember Egwite? If we're banning Magician, it might be a Lizard. And I sound completely insane, but Lizard... Well, with Area of Effect, Magician doesn't hard counter Lizard as much, but it's a very specific ban here that... Yeah, I do think that STR was one of the Japanese teams that played Lizard in qualifiers. I think that's where I'm remembering them. We're going to lock in an Enchantress, so I think that this team might be a little bit worried about a Hermit for locking in that Enchantress, but also Enchantress is a very popular kind of round 3 do or die pick, especially on Japan teams, so we do see a lot of Enchantress in this round 3. But yeah, I wonder if we'll see a Lizard. He's very good on Chinatown. There's a lot of areas where you can kind of play mind games with him. Yeah, they're worried about Smiley for sure. But I don't think we would play Smiley just because there is the Entomologist on the team, as well as the Enchantress. It is, a bad. Well, Enchantress can definitely suffer against a clown, but it's very situational. Hermit as well. Very unlikely with that Enchantress on the team as well as the Entomologist. I don't think Lizard would be too bad here. And I'm hopeful. I will stay hopeful. Okay, we are actually going to take the risk and go with the clown, which I'm not too mad about. I would just be kind of worried in this situation because you have two hard counters here. You've got the Entomologist, which is basically a built-in counter. I mean, even if they were preparing for a Lizard, they would have brought Flywheel, because Flywheel can eat the Lethal Crash. So yeah, I'm a little bit curious about the clown pick. I feel like, yeah. Feels like a mouse walking into a cheese trap with neon lights saying "cheese here, no death." Yeah, I'm assuming the mouse in this metaphor is the clown. Because yeah, it's it's a very good map for clown. It is a very good map for clown. But having the Entomologist on the team, especially with a team that is coordinated, there's a lot of support. I'm interested in if we're going to end up seeing a lot of Flywheel on this team. I may have been completely off. They may have brought Broken Windows. That's definitely happened before. But yeah. Yeah, I'll have to consult my clown main friends, but like, this is not a very clown-friendly comp. I feel like best case scenario here, if you chase the Ento, it means she can't support. And you can get rid of the bees a little bit easier. It's just that, you still have to deal with the bees. Up close and personal. Which I suppose is better than having her support, again. But it also means that decoding's not going to be disrupted. Yeah, I feel like the best first chase here, ideally, would probably be Embalmer, just because he is the squishiest member of the team. Maybe even Mercenary, because he can suffer against the dash. But yeah, it's a risky pick here, especially when you need. But it is kind of that. Oh, I skipped forward a little bit too much. But it is that high risk, high reward kind of pick that STR really needs. It's just a little bit late in the game for it to, I feel like, be more reward than risk. Right now, it's more of a risk. Anyway, we are going to get right into it. Looks like we have brought two Flywheels. Embalmer does not have Flywheel, but both Enchantress and Entomologist do, which makes sense. Those are very good skills to bring, regardless of the comp on, two harassers. But yeah, we are going to get a little bit of gathering here with this infinite rocket, just picking up as many resources as we can, and we are going to start our first chase here with the Entomologist. So yeah, about a little bit under a minute into the match here. We've only just started decoding too, so that we haven't really lost a lot of time here on chasing this Entomologist, just because the decoding hasn't really started yet. But looks like we are going to change targets here, heading for... Who is this? Oh, and a beautiful Flywheel here from the Enchantress, but she is going to take a Blink hit. That did force out Blink, though. But again, our ciphers are moving pretty slowly, so I feel like this might actually pay off. But, I mean, we do still have the whole match to get through. It looks like we are kind of spreading out a lot, changing targets once again. Oh, but a little bit of a misstep there, running into the wall with that rocket instead of the Embalmer. That is going to slow down our momentum kind of considerably here. And not taking the stairs just yet. We're going to kind of equip that rocket once again. Embalmer playing around at the top of the steps and being forced to break this pallet as well. Embalmer is going to use the opportunity to transition around... And yeah, we're going to be forced to drop down here. Now we're getting into dangerous territory. We've 2 minutes into the match here. We've gotten one hit, and it was a Blink hit, so we have no skills to utilize right now. We do have Insolence in play, but no detention, and that is dangerous, especially with the amount of decoding that we've allowed to happen so far. Just kind of letting these survivors run free. We are going to get a dash hit in on the Embalmer, but a lot of distance being broken here. And right back into this hotel area. That pallet is still free to be used. And again, we don't have Blink Up that was already utilized. So having to start this dash once again here and it immediately running out because it was not the infinite dash. Yeah, Embalmer just kind of has free reign of this area right now. And yeah, I'm not too surprised about the no detention pick, but it's also very, very risky. Especially when, we've taken this much time. And it could definitely pay off. We are going to get this Embalmer down. And we are relatively close to that coffin. Basement's here, but I don't think we're going to be using the basement just because, the coffin is right there. We do want to have Embalmer either rescue himself or be rescued, and not be able to get away from the coffin. That's kind of the two ideal situations here. We're at 3 ciphers remaining, but we haven't started our final cipher, so that is a little bit dangerous. Taking a kind of the long way around with this rocket, but we are going to be able to hit the Embalmer. Embalmer does have Tide, though, having been rescued by the mercenary. So what is that accessory? Why? Sorry, that's distracting. But what is on the trail, from the Embalmer? Anyway, Embalmer is going to go down here quite a ways away from the coffin, but we are working with a smiley face, so he can definitely just dash right back up, to the hotel here. Yeah, we are going to see that coffin come into play. Haven't quite activated the dash. Okay, yeah, there we go. Now is the dash. And just trying to kind of aim it. It looks like, but getting caught with that Enchantress stun hiding behind the reception desk. Nicely done there. Just to kind of, catch him off guard. Wasting that flywheel, though, that is a little bit crucial here coming into, especially the later stages of the match. At the rate the ciphers are going, that flywheel is not going to be up for endgame, which is huge. Especially for the draw potential here. If we're able to get a draw, maybe Terror Shocking the Mercenary off the Cypher. Mercenary not paying attention and immediately going down. If we're able to catch up to the Embalmer here, we could have a double down situation, but it looks like we're just going to go ahead and chair the Mercenary. That's bad. That's bad. Yeah, Mercenary, I feel like he just wasn't expecting the clown to really go for that because it was kind of, and using the blink to get the Enchantress down, not allowing her to stun out of that dash. We could turn this around. We could very much turn this around where we are right now. We're going to just use the basic hit there. That last cipher is not primed just yet, but yeah, getting the Entomologist down as well. We've left Embalmer a little bit unattended though, and he does have I believe he has another coffin if he wants to embalm somebody because he was rescued. I think he can place another coffin. But I guess we'll have to see. I think that coffin might be up right now, but he's only used one. He was chaired twice. So yeah, he definitely has one on the field. It just hasn't been... Okay, we have moved it looks like. And we are going to embalm... I would say we're probably going to embalm the Mercenary here. Yep, okay, we are going to embalm the Mercenary. Just a little bit of insurance there on this rescue that really just needs to happen. Going to get Rocket hit, though, going in, but we are still going to be able to get that rescue off. Heading for the Entomologist chair. Nice job on that 3-stack. Mercenary is still coffined, is obviously going to go down here. But we are able to get Entomologist back up again. Stunned out of hitting the bees there. Kind of a little bit of an unfortunate miscommunication. But Enchantress, once again, with that stun, working on a new cipher. It's passing about 70% here. LM can bring this back if they just rally hard enough. And then beautiful flywheel with the amount of time that took. The flywheel was back online. And at the most crucial moment, that is going to be a block flywheel. But a Terror Shock on that wall. Enchantress is going to go down once again. I believe she might be dead on chair. So that's definitely going to be one secured elimination heading into the endgame here. We do have Trump card. But all of the survivors have borrowed time. So they will, well, except for Mercenary, they will be up. Enchantress was not dead on chair. She's actually only on her second chair. It looks like we are healing up, I believe, either the Entomologist or... No, we're healing up the Mercenary. Mercenary is going to be back up, but Wanted Order back online here. We can see the Entomologist. Cypher is primed, but are we going to be able to get it on time? Rocket Dash over to the Entomologist, and she is going to be rescued by Borrowed Time. We are able to get the Enchantress rescued as well. We're getting into dangerous territory here once again. With that no detention, I feel like the survivors are really going to get possibly a little cocky. So we could take advantage of it, but Mercenary has been embalmed. We're already at the opposite gate, and we don't want to use Blink here. We're able to get the second hit in on Mercenary, but yes, we are going to switch to teleport over to the other gate. It's at about 60%. Mercenary trying to undo the gate, but that... or unlock the gate is what I was trying to say. But that unfortunately not going to go through. Beautiful flywheel here from Entomologist. That gate is nearly open, and that is going to be one open gate here. Opened by Embalmer. We've gotten rid of that, or getting rid of that is definitely a good thing. Getting rid of the vault, the window there. But that is going to be one elimination. Are we going to be able to get to the other exit gate in time? I don't think so. I think this might be a 3-man escape. Yeah, that gate is going to be open. Smiley Face not quite able to catch up in time, and is going to get stunned out of any chance of getting that Rocket Dash up. Teleport's still on cooldown, and yeah, that is going to be a 3-man escape there. What a way to turn it around there from LM Survivors. That was nearly over. That was so close to being over at 1 Cypher remaining. But yeah, wow. Just an incredible match to watch there. Yeah, just... and that really shows the coordination of LM Survivors. Just being in that situation, you know, coming so close to throwing that away. And yeah, embalming the Mercenary really did, just, you know, that was the best possible option. Because he can take that extra hit, so he has a little bit of insurance already, embalming him, because that's the thing. 99% of the time, Mercenary will just be left to bleed out. And there's nothing you can do about it. But having the coffin there, and immediately coffining him as well in the endgame, as soon as he went down, even though he wasn't kind of within the sight of Smiley Face, is using that coffin right away, getting him back up, especially since there was no detention. There was a lot of insurance kind of on that front. But yeah, just a little bit unfortunate there, and that's why, you know, that's why you don't play Smiley Face against a team that's essentially built to counter him, because no matter how well you do with those stuffs, and those were some beautiful, beautiful rescue stuffs, the Cypher rush that happened there, the time it took to get the Entomologist down, the amount of target switching, you know, and it can definitely be beneficial, but with a team that can communicate that much, that's why Hermit tends to struggle against 4-man VC teams. Because as soon as teams are really able to coordinate themselves, able to get their healing on point, their Cypher rush, once you're able to communicate that, and once you're able to do it efficiently, you know, the best you can hope for is a draw as a hunter, especially when you're being countered that much. But yeah, getting into the second half here, they need a 4-man escape. STR Survivors need a 4-man escape, or it is over. Anything less, as soon as LM Hunter gets 1 escape. Oh, I need to update the score. My bad. Here we go. Okay, we've got 3 points to LM. Oops. There we go. You can see my my really good typing skills as well. I hope that that's like readable. I'm seeing that it's kind of that wasn't intentional, that it was 1, 2, 3 for the first like column points in each round. I'm gonna work on the scorecard. But that's what it is for now. I hope it do you guys like it? I don't know, it's new. But we are going to get into the bans and picks for the second game of round 3. Once again, we do need a 4-man escape from STR Survivors. We're going to ban out the Seer and the Priestess first. I would say Embalmer, probably going to be a pick here. Interestingly, oh, we're going to see LM's other hunter coming out here. We're going to see BMC instead, and we're going to ban Opera Singer and Bloody Queen. And it looks like, Prospector and Professor as our first two picks. Those are very specific, and I wonder if we're looking at maybe trying to counter a Dream Witch. With the Professor kind of speaks to a Dream Witch. And by speaks, I mean yells at her. But or argues, I suppose. And with a Wildling as well, I feel like we are trying to counter a Dream Witch. Cheerleader ban coming in as our final pick. I feel like Clown wouldn't be terrible here, kind of as a mirror pick, but like Clown would not be bad. And we're going to see that Embalmer coming through right at the end there, just as a little bit of insurance for trying to get that 4-man escape here. But I don't know. I feel it's a bit of a risky comp. You have 3 survivors that are very good at solo containment, 2 survivors that are, well, 1 survivor that's okay, Wildling's okay at harassment, Prospector is a very strong harasser for, you know, Embalmer. Wildling and Embalmer as well has been kind of a tried and tested duo, but I feel, I don't know. This is very much a play keep away with the Embalmer kind of situation. With kind of these 3 tankier survivors. Prospector does mean that we can't really play Anne, Disciple. Okay! I'm very... This is a hard counter Dream Witch. I guess maybe because they're getting cocky. They're getting cocky. They are absolutely getting cocky here. They know that they only need 1 elimination. And I'm supposing that they're going to try and secure it with the Dream Witch. And Chinatown is a very good map for Dream Witch, don't get me wrong. But I worry, because you have Professor, who is just, you know, a pain to chase regardless, but, you know, against a single Hill Hunter, especially against a Dream Witch, he slows down her hit as well. So even if he's just, you know, passively there to harass, he's still going to be an issue. Prospector is a very strong harasser. Wildling is not the strongest harasser, but he's much more difficult to chase. And of course, Embalmer again, easiest target, but deceptively easy, because he does have the coffin insurance, and also this team is definitely going to fight to keep him specifically alive. So, yeah. I feel like they may have wanted to go a little bit more aggressive, maybe instead of a Wildling with a batter pick. I would have felt more comfortable with a batter, I think. I don't love seeing Wildling on teams. That's more of a personal thing than a meta thing. But it's also because when I see a Wildling on a team and I'm playing Hunter, I'm like, ha, what are you gonna do? I'm like, oh no, I just won't hit you. Or I will hit you and it won't, you know, it's not gonna cost me anything. But I feel like batter might have been a little bit more effective, but either way, we're going to see how this pans out. Once again, 1 elimination here is going to mean the end of the road for STR and LM advancing to the semifinals. So, yeah, no pressure at all, but we are going to get right into it. Looks like Embalmer is going to be our first chase here. A lot of just rapid fire movement here. We can definitely see that this Dream Witch is confident in her spawn points, knows exactly where to go here and not allowing these survivors to rotate. We're going to see the Leech at the top of the stairs here breaking the pallet, and the Spawn Follower at the bottom of the stairs immediately getting that hit. Embalmer can't go back up the stairs because the Leech is up there. That is a beautiful play here from the Dream Witch, getting almost an immediate sandwich here. And we can just see this is a skilled Dream Witch. This is exactly why she decided to continue playing Dream Witch despite the amount of counters. Already we're setting up for a very fast down here. We've got Patroller in play, not Blink. But these Leeches are coming much closer here. Missing that hit, kind of maybe trying to bait out the Blink predict here. We are expecting the flywheel. Nice prediction on the flywheel, but we are going to get that Embalmer down with the Leech. Leech is obviously off cooldown though, so we are going to be able to spawn another one in right away. Dream Witch working on taking out the wall there, or the window while we chair the Embalmer, and it looks like we are going to head into the basement. So not an easy spot to rescue from, especially in this situation, but we are going to get the Wildling coming down to the basement here. 2 Cyphers are about to pop, so not the worst situation in the world, but I feel like, you know, maybe we could wait a little bit on the Embalmer, let him marinate. But, of course, Wildling's not going to contribute much to the coding anyway, so it's okay that he's down here. Cypher's at 40%, not terrible. And a rescue well before half here. We do have a Leech at the top of the stairs, not quite able to get that fall hit, though. Embalmer is going to take a hit, and the coffin is right here, but he does have plenty of time to run away, as well as Wildling being in the area. Is not a bad thing. It looks like we might be seeing... Is that a... Who is that? I think that's Prospector over by where the Embalmer went down. We're not going to activate that coffin just yet. Wildling on the board here. Do we have anyone in the area? Yes, it does look like Prospector in the area. We're going to see a switch there, but that Leech is going to get stunned. Unfortunately, Embalmer just going to go straight down once again. Yeah, that was a Leech on the Embalmer, so... Very nicely played here by STR, kind of forcing Dream Witch to use her resources. And we're going to see, a drop on the Embalmer, not quite getting that stun off. And are we going to be able to get this chair? He does still have the coffin as a little bit of insurance. Coffin does come with Tide Turner because we don't have all the Cyphers popped yet. And they are rushing these Cyphers. We're at 2 Cyphers remaining here. Dream Witch not going to be able to hit just yet, but we do have a lot of resources that have been used here. Oh, and the Patroller coming out, waiting for the Embalmer to get off an immediate Patrollering. That is so well done. And we are going to kind of blackjack this window here until it's broken. It is going to be broken here, but yeah, nowhere for the Embalmer to go. We are going to get that final hit in. If Prospector is able to harass, Prospector only has 1 magnet, and I don't think Wildling is here. So this is going to be the one elimination that LM needs in order to win, and that is GG's. But of course, the match is still on. They're not going to, just surrender with that 3-minute escape. We are here to finish out the match. But, I mean, I'm not going to skip through it. It's interesting. But yeah, very, very well played here by this Dream Witch. And, that is kind of the double-edged sword of bringing the Embalmer. Bring the Embalmer. But if they were more aggressive on the harassment, the problem here is that they weren't as coordinated, I think, as LM survivors. And there was really, kind of a unfortunate lack of coordination, I would say, with the survivors. You have basically 2.5 harassers. We barely saw the Wildling. Wildling just got the rescue and then left. And Prospector did do a good bit of harassment, but it wasn't in a way that was particularly effective. It was kind of just a waiting game. But, we're going to miss that blink on the Professor here, which is, again, that is pretty easy to do. Especially considering the hitbox is so slowed down. But switching targets here over to Prospector. Nice job on that magnet, really seeing the Leech coming without really, knowing it. But the blink is up here, trying to kind of bait it out, knowing that the scale is on that Prospector. But yeah, it really is just a matter of time. We've already won here, so not, whatever happens, happens. If Dream Witch is 3 escape, then so be it. It's still game over. But yeah, if the Embalmer had been able to kite further away from the coffin, I feel like that would have been a lot better. The problem was that, we were looping around the hotel, and that was exactly where A, the Embalmer spawned, B, where the coffin was placed. And just the first moment of the match, being able to get that Leech at the top of the stairs, forcing the Embalmer to drop down, and then getting the spawn follower hit, that just locks off the entire hotel loop. And just such an effective strategy here from Dream Witch. Because you consider hotel to be the safest area on Chinatown. Because it is, it's a very strong loop. The problem is that Dream Witch has 2 of her, at least. And so being able to kind of lock off the area, especially that early on, just so effective. But yeah, I am going to start skipping through this just kind of in the interest of time, because we do have several more matches to get through. But I do want to see how this ends. So we are just going to skip through it. We're still at 1 cipher remaining. Those ciphers are kind of getting there, but with the pressure of the Dream Witch, and this is really just textbook, kind of old school Dream Witch gameplay. We're really seeing the kind of cipher pressure that we don't really see this kind of cipher pressure anymore. From Dream Witches, but it's always just so much fun and so long, which is why I'm skipping through it. But it looks like we were able to get that cipher popped. We still got 3 survivors alive. We do have detention. It looks like, yeah, we have used that trump card switch to blink earlier. But is this going to be a 3-man escape after all is said and done? No, we're going to be able to blink on the prospector. Both survivors, again, are still up to harass, and they have nothing to lose. They are definitely going to go ahead and harass, but yeah, we are definitely drawing to a close here. So I'm just going to continue. Yeah. Professor in the area. We're kind of just playing around here with that, I think. Just trying to kind of... we're trying to get Professor to slip up here. Going for this rescue, but he does have a scale, and so, I was going to say he has a scale, so he's very confident about going in for this rescue, but unfortunately that's not going to work out for him. That is going to be a 1-man escape here, and that will be victory for LM. So very nicely played there, and just the balls of steel to play that Dream Witch against that comp. But just really, that kind of confidence is just so admirable. And I'm very excited to see LM continue. But yeah, heading on to the second match of the day, I'm going to quickly rewrite this, and we're going to be looking at KT versus YG. Both teams we saw the other day. If you missed that, not a big deal. Let me just switch this out here. KT versus YG. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. All right, we're good. And I'm going to just clear out the score, because clearly we are not. New round, new game. And all right, that is reset. Yeah, we're going to head into the semifinals here. For our first matchup, we're going to have KT versus YG. KT is going to ban Leo's Memory. YG is going to pick Moonlit River Park. So we're definitely, as Juliet so correctly points out, every team that did not play Opera Singer in round 1 lost. Which I feel like, it makes sense. If playing the Opera Singer while she's still available, is just kind of the way to go. It could definitely pay off to not play Opera Singer in round 1, but, not always. And in the interest of this Opera Singer, we're going to lock in, it looks like, the Patient and the Gardener first. We're going to ban the Explorer as well as the Antiquarian. So kind of a little bit of a mixed bag strategy here from Yui heading into this round. Excuse me. But yeah, banning the Explorer first is definitely interesting. And there is our first officer, so locking in that Steady Rescuer. KT really on top of these Opera Singer counters. We've got the Gardener, we've got the Patient. Patient, such a strong kiter on Moonlit River Park. Just really, really fun. I was playing him last night because I pulled his Koa skin, so I've been trying to learn Patient, which I've been saying I would do since release, and then I never really did it. But we're working on it. We're working on it. It makes sense because I'm good at Aeroplanes and I'm good at Merc, so Patient's kind of there. But I'm not great at the fact that the hook takes like 5 seconds to go off. I like more instant gratification with like with the airplanist and the mercenary, but yeah, it's fun. I've been having fun. And Patient is a lot of fun, especially on Moonlit River Park. There's a lot of areas where he can just kind of jump and you don't really expect him to. So I'm excited to see if they're able to really take advantage of that, especially, you know, placing the Patient on the fourth or the first stop. Gives him a lot of room to kind of maneuver. And yeah, we are going to be seeing that round one Opera Singer. Again, all of the teams that have made it to the semifinals are, in fact, teams that played Opera Singer in round one. Crazy how that works. And I feel like part of that as well is not necessarily the fact that they're good at Opera Singer. We did see some kind of mediocre Opera Singers in round one the other day. But playing Opera Singer round one means that they've been watching tournament and paying attention to the meta. And we did just see, you know, the difference in game sense between LM and STR. And STR, you know, not playing the Opera Singer round one and then kind of lagging behind as we got further in the rounds. Their survivor coordination, you know, fell behind that of LM, who really had a coordinated team. So I feel like part of the it's like correlation, not causation. Opera Singer round one teams all making it into the semifinals. The correlation of like knowing tournament meta like this. But yeah, we are going to get into it. I feel like First Officer is definitely in a vulnerable position, but just like by virtue of being First Officer, is at more of an advantage than he would be if, say, we're looking at a mercenary spawning in that open area. First Officer is just kind of a bad first chase in general, just because it's so easy to lose track of him if you're not playing like a Wax Artist, somebody who can more reliably keep track of the First Officer. But yeah, it looks like we are actually going to head over to the Patient, who is at his favorite spot in the world, over at the fourth stop here. So a lot of area for this Patient to really work with. We're going to see Yui getting a little bit turned around here, kind of trying to play some mind games with the Patient. But a lot of shadows placed over at that, kind of the start of the fourth stop, and already we are going to see a teleport back to them, just playing these games with the Patient, really trying to catch up to him, but a lot of distance able to be grabbed from that hook, and we're seeing a transition over into this double palleted area. So nicely done by the Patient, wasting a lot of time here, even for an Opera Singer, which she can definitely, you know, regain the time that's been lost here. But already, you know, just the distance that the Patient's been able to maintain. And Opera Singer hasn't been able to catch up. And we still have one hook left. We're over a minute into the match here without a first hit. And playing around that pallet, Opera Singer kind of losing the battle here. But a beautiful blink there. And unfortunately, Patient is going to take that first hit. But we do still have Flywheel as well as another hook to utilize. Blink has been used, and very, very close on that pallet drop. Playing around a little bit. Yeah, unfortunately, Patient is going to go down, but what a first chase there already. We're looking at nearly 3 full ciphers decoded. And yeah, First Officer is free to come in for this rescue, but that was a beautiful first chase there. Really just showcasing, you know, I was just talking about how good for Patient is on this map. And yeah, he's a bit of a situational Opera Singer counter, just because, you know, Opera Singer does counter kind of that dash, but it can work against her, and we just saw that there very, very nicely. So well done there, for KT Batoru. But a rescue and immediately getting hit, but First Officer does have Tide, and I do believe that was right before half, so nicely done. And we're at 3 ciphers remaining. We've started our 4th cipher. Final cipher has not yet been touched, but we still have another chair to sit through with the Patient. Not quite able to get that last hit for full presence. A little bit unfortunate there for Opera Singer. Not that she's particularly presence-based, but I think she does just spawn more decoys when she gets to max presence, and she can dash faster. So definitely not a bad thing to be at max presence. I feel like the most important part of Opera Singer presence is that mid presence, where she gets the kind of cloak throw, so she can be a little bit more versatile in her Shadow Dance. Either way, we're going to see a nice shield here from the Gardener. Not quite able to get that second hit on the Gardener, though, and we are just going to turn around and go right for the Patient, who is going to use his last hook to get, again, all the way across that 4th stop and just continue this chase. We haven't used this pallet here as well. 30 seconds left on Blink, so if we play our cards right, that does buy another 30 seconds for Patient, which even if Patient goes down at the end, yeah, we are going to see Patient go down. Unfortunately, Blink was not used, but we are at 1 Cypher remaining. Last 2 Cyphers are kind of keeping pace with each other. Yeah, heading at around 30% here. And are we going to use our trait switch here? Not quite yet. We do still have Blink in play, but Trump card is definitely on the table. I feel like we won't see Blink used before endgame for that reason, but a nice pallet stun here from the first officer, just buying more and more time. We have accelerated decoding is in play. So, and yeah, that Cypher is all the way across the map. Opera Singer can definitely teleport over to it. Gardner doesn't have much to work with, other than the bubble, obviously. But it looks like we might be taking the long way here, and Gardner already getting the message here. Opera Singer is changing targets and immediately just running away from that Cypher. It looks like we're going to actually return to that other Cypher that we've started. So having 2 Cyphers going at once really is the strategy for Opera Singer. You need to have as many final Cyphers at a time as you can. Otherwise, they are just going to get pressured, and they did do a good job at not Cypher locking themselves. So once again, we are going to see Opera Singer kind of getting stuck at this first stop location. Very close to being a fall hit there. That would have been very good if Yui were able to pull it off, unfortunately. Oh, and a beautiful use of that bubble. Nicely done there from the Gardener. And they are just going to pop the Cypher. Going into endgame here, this can definitely be a draw situation. We do still have Blink online, so that can definitely change to teleport. But Flywheel, beautifully done there just to extend this kite a little bit longer. We haven't quite been able to get to the gate yet. But unfortunately, that is going to be Gardner down. We do have, it looks like, the Embalmer at the first stop gate. Are we going to be able to get the draw out of this is the real question. It looks like First Officer may have already turned around and headed for the Gardener's chair. Embalmer, obviously, over at the gate, is going to get teleported on. But if we're able to get that rescue, yeah, it looks like no decoys left on the other side of the map here for Yui. A little bit of a misstep, I would say here. Getting a little bit cocky, a little bit overextending. That gate is going to be opened by the Embalmer. Both of the other survivors are stuck on this side of the map, so if Opera Singer is able to track both of them down very quickly, we could possibly see kind of this endgame turn out as a one-man escape, but they do have basically one escape guaranteed here. Embalmer being on the field is dangerous. I feel like she needs to force Embalmer out the gate. Not forcing Embalmer out the gate is kind of playing with fire. Yep, and we are going to see Gardner will be embalmed here. And we are... both gates are open. We're going to get Gardner down, but teleport is not up just yet. That coffin is at the open gate, and detention is almost out. We've got 13 seconds left on detention, 10 seconds left on detention. Are we going to be able to catch up in time? No, this is going to be a 3-man escape here for KT. Absolutely incredible gameplay there. Really, just knowing how to counter the Opera Singer, outplaying her, and that is the thing you can do on Moonlit River Park. Is just outplay the Opera Singer, and that is why, picking Moonlit here was really a strong choice to go against Opera Singer. It's not always a strong choice because there's a lot of open areas for her, and once she has that presence unlocked, she can just kind of, send the cape going. And I'm just going to plug in the score real quick. We've got 3 points to KT and 1 point to YG. I can get that in. But a 3-man escape against an Opera Singer is huge. But it does speak, again, we're looking at that tournament mentality. It's less of that rank mentality coming into the semifinals and then up to the finals. And I'm really excited to see how COA qualifiers go for NAU, because I feel like those are going to be a little bit like this too, where in the first few rounds we have some teams that are a little bit more rank oriented. And then as we kind of get to the end game, get to, the cream of the crop, so to speak, we're going to have more and more of that tournament mentality, that hard meta, and really just showcasing the coordination of the survivors. But that is, just beautiful usage of the map, just to make the Opera Singer overextend. That's really the only way to counter her, is to make her overextend. And that's exactly what KT was able to do. Just nicely done. and so much fun to watch. I mean, playing Hunter in this economy is terrible. But watching Survivor, but I mean, like, Opera Singer is, I wouldn't say overpowered at this point, because, I mean, obviously there are ways to counter her, but she's overpowered against, teams that are a little bit more solo-oriented. And seeing, the coordination there was just kind of awesome, honestly. But we're going to see KT's Hunter go in here, a little bit lower stakes. As long as you get one-man elimination, it's going to be a tie automatically. If you can get a draw here, then that is going to be a win here for KT, and that is just lowest possible good results. But we are going to see YG taking an aggressive approach here and locking in that Seer right away. That is going to ban the Seer permanently for the rest of the rounds, as well as the Wildling. And we have seen Wildling kind of be a bit of a team favorite here in these matches. So having the Wildling here is definitely a very aggressive choice. Patient as well. We're going to lock out the First Officer, we're going to lock out Mercenary, and we're going to lock out Antiquarian, rounding us off with a Lawyer ban here, really wanting to cut back on that decoding. And our final pick here is going to be the Psychologist. So that's definitely a very tanky team here. We've just seen how well the Patient can be utilized. Wildling, you can't really chase. Seer, I feel like, might be the best first chase option, but you still have the Owl to reckon with, maybe, as well. We have Psychologist, and she can definitely be dangerous if left alone. She's able to remotely heal her teammates, which can be huge, especially paired with a Seer. I'd be really interested to see if they're able to kind of get a Psychologist-Seer kind of team going. If Patient... I feel like ideally for them here, Patient takes first kite, takes a hit, Seer sends an Owl as Psychologist heals, immediate, infinite containment. If they're able to pull that off, that would be huge for YG. But it does look like they are kind of baiting either that Seer or that Patient as our first chase here. But it's going to be difficult here for Ideshi to go after either of them. I feel like these are very, very strong spawns. Best case scenario, I would say maybe going after Patient, but Patient kind of rules that those fourth and first stops. So yeah, it's gonna be a difficult first chase. But I mean, if Ideshi is practicing against his own teammates, then we'll see. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't expect Seer to take first chase. It's definitely a possibility. But the 2-story is not a fun area to be stuck in. It might be a little bit better just because it's kind of made up of more straight lines, and Seer has a little bit less freedom over those straight lines than Patient does with the hook. But we'll see. It's either or. Seer will feed more presence though. But we are kind of closer to fourth stop. It does look like we are going to take that Patient bait heading over to the fourth stop here. And it's kind of deja vu here. We're playing the exact same match again. We're going to try and set up all of these decoys around the fourth stop to make it a little bit harder to navigate. But already, just this rapid fire Opera Singer gameplay, we're really getting these hunters kind of in their element. And yeah, we are seeing that immediate cutoff here and a much faster first hit than the previous match. And already we're not quite able to double back here yet, but that dash is still in play. And just nicely done. Patient is going to transition over to the double palleted area. And just, again, more and more of these decoys being set up here. Going to vault this window and just continue this containment. Looks like Patient is going to try and head back to the fourth stop, but Ideshi right on his tail and is going to get this. No, not quite getting the second hit in yet, but baiting out the Owl instead. Nicely done. We're just going to wait out that Owl. It does not look like Patient has Flywheel, and unfortunately just immediately going to go down there. Very, very aggressive with this Opera Singer gameplay. And yeah, those first 3 ciphers are about halfway through, nowhere near where we were seeing in the previous match. This is just such strong gameplay. And this is where Opera Singer gameplay gets fun, when you can tell that the hunter is very confident with her, and just really knows what they're doing. Because we are, we're playing post-nerf Opera Singer, and you can't tell. You can't tell that this is nerfed Opera Singer. We're going to see a bit of an interesting maneuver there from Wildling, dashing into the chair. I'm not sure if that was a misclick or what, but we are going to see Patient taking a hit there. No hooks left to utilize. And yeah, Wildling took a hit, is going to be on cooldown. We can heal him back up though with the Psychologist. So Wildling is definitely not afraid of taking that hit because we can. Yep, we're already going to see that whistle going off. But Patient is going to be on second chair here. We've got 4 ciphers remaining. 3 of them are about halfway through, and we are going to start that 5th cipher. So not the worst position to be in here. We do have quite a bit of cipher progress, obviously, as well as still 4 survivors technically up. Wildling still able to go in for this rescue. He doesn't have to decode, which is big. You don't really want Wildling to decode. He does have 30% of a decoding debuff, which is painful. But yeah, we're about to be at 3 ciphers remaining. Looks like a cipher is about to pop here. He's kind of waiting for the last second to try and bait that hit. But are we going to be able to get the rescue off? Yes, but with no Tide Turner, Patient is just going to go straight down. Wildling not able to get the body block. The boar is on cooldown, so we're not going to see any stun action. This is automatically a draw, a drawn round. If this is the most we get, then it's going to still be a draw for KT. And YG, not the worst situation to be in for a round 1. But 3 ciphers remaining here with our first elimination, especially against an opera singer, not the most optimistic scenario for YG. We do have quite a bit of cipher progress on the field, though. We have about pretty much 1 combined cipher remaining with, the 45 and the 57% on the 2 ciphers that are currently going. But we do still have Blink online. We could switch to Teleport. It looks like we're actually opening up a 3rd cipher here. Trying to just, keep that cipher progress going, but Ideshi catching up, it looks like, to the Seer here. Seer does not have an owl that was used very early on the Patient. It looks like we are going to use that Blink just to get a hit in on the Seer. Nicely done with that Blink as well, just really aware of where that Blink was going to go. The Opera Singer's hitbox, and just immediately Seer going down again, not having any flywheel to utilize and not quite able to make it to that window. Nicely done. We're going to also immediately switch to Teleport after that Blink. Forgot to mention that part. But yeah, Teleport will definitely be up either by endgame or at very least to pressure the final cipher. But it does look like Wildling coming in for this rescue once again. The problem with Wildling, and it's an issue with any rescuer, especially with Wildling and the way that YG has been utilizing Wildling. Actually, I'll talk about this later. We are going to get this rescue off. Wildling getting off the boar here in time to take that body block, but it looks like we are just going to go for him again. But no, a beautiful pallet stun there from Wildling, and heading right over to that 4th stop once again. I feel like we've seen so much of 4th stop lately. But yeah, Wildling just getting a little bit cornered here, is going to go down. And that final cipher is at about 70%, a little bit over 70% by the time Wildling's chaired. It is his first chair, though, so he does have a lot of time to spare. Problem is that Seer is the only one on this side of the map, the only one who can rescue. They're going to have to kind of wait this out, and Ideshi fully intends to not let them do that. It looks like we're actually going to change targets over to the final cipher. Final cipher is in quite an open area, so not the best kind of placement for that final cipher. But Wildling still on chair, Seer still in the area, giving a little bit of tinnitus. Ideshi does need to sniff him out, though, before that Cypher's primed. Unfortunately, Cypher is already primed here. It looks like we're actually going to heal up the Seer. But with a teleport over to the final Cypher, we're actually just going to pop it, and Psychologist is going to go straight down there. Seer is going to be able to get the rescue, but no, we're actually going to be able to double back immediately, get the Wildling down, and Seer is still in the area. This could very easily just turn into a 4-man elimination just like that. We're going to see Ideshi actually missed up there, get sent out of the dash form, shadow form. And we are just going to double back here and take care of the Wildling. Psychologist is still downed over by where the final cipher popped. Her healing is at about probably 90%. I'm not sure if she's going to pick herself up yet. Okay, she is actually going to use that self-heal and pick herself up. But already, this is a lost round here for YG. KT has won round one, but just nicely done there with that endgame crusher and kind of a crucial misstep there from YG. Because if they had allowed Seer to kind of try and go in for that rescue while the Cypher was primed, it actually didn't know where the Seer was. And if Seer had been stealthy enough, I think he probably could have stayed out of kind of detection. But yeah, just a little bit unfortunate there, that they kind of, were like, oh, let's heal up the Seer. And that's kind of a hermit strategy, is have the person on the final cipher be at half health. And obviously, it was primed, so it didn't work quite as well, as Adeshi was probably hoping. But, it still did kind of mess up that pop quite significantly. But that gate is open, so we will be seeing at least one escape here, from YG. And it looks like we've actually lost track of Seer. We're going to teleport, but that gate is already open. Detention is nearly out, but dungeon is all the way over in Godkite. Seer is definitely on the way to that, though. We might actually be able to make this. Opera Singer heading right over. We have 4 seconds left in detention. Seer definitely not going to get hit with detention here. And I think Adeshi might be accepting that this is going to be a draw. It is still a win, not with the point difference that Adeshi probably would have hoped for and KT would have hoped for. But that is still going to be a 1 round here for KT. So I'm going to update that here. We've got a draw for the second half of the round. That is going to be 3 points to 5. So it's only a 2-point deficit here. So YG can definitely bring this back around. But of course it is, 1-0 in terms of rounds. So yeah, it's not the worst position to be in for YG. Even with a loss in the first round, it's not as if it was like, a complete slaughter. They're definitely very evenly matched teams. They both have very strong hunters and very coordinated survivors. That really was just a difference of having the Wildling. And I did want, discussing the Wildling pick here. Here we go. The thing with Wildling is we're actually going to see here, we've got 0% decoding on the patient, 73% decoding on the Wildling, and almost 300% decoding on the psychologist, over 100% decoding on the seer. Distributing the decoding like that automatically slows your match down. And yeah, like Wildling is a rescuer. He doesn't have to finish that first cipher. You can have somebody else pick it up, but it's not a great position to be in. And having Wildling go for all of those rescues, it depletes the boar more quickly. And yeah, it's kind of just the issue with carrying a Wildling on your team because, on one hand you do have kind of an unchaseable tank. But on the other hand, I actually wonder if I could put the score on the top bar, and that would probably be easier to see. I'm gonna work on things like this weekend or something, and then next week when I finish up IVT, then I'll maybe have a better layout. Anyway, sorry for like interrupting myself with graphic design, but it's fine. I'll put a round counter at the top like they do on the actual screen. I don't know. I'll figure things out. On that front. But yeah, we are looking at 5-3. Yeah, it's only a 2-point deficit. So YG can absolutely bring this back around. But with that, we are going to get into the second round here. If I can find the right timestamp. Okay, there we go. Oh, I somewhat missed the map picks. It looks like we are going to be on Arms Factory. Okay, we're buffering. Never mind. Okay, YG has also banned Leo's Memory, so that's a second Leo's Memory ban. Did that seriously? Because they did ban Leo's Memory first, if I'm remembering correctly. But either way, we're going to be on Arms Factory, which not the worst map to be on. I mean, they're definitely going to ban Opera Singer on both sides. That's kind of spoken for. But yeah. I guess we'll just have to see who these bans turn out to be. We have swapped hunters here. We're going to switch to metal for YG. And it doesn't look like there were any survivor substitutions for KT. We're going to ban the Seer and the Forward here. Kind of interesting bans. I do wonder if that could be possibly a Dream Witch. Maybe a Geisha. Possibly, and maybe not Nightwatch. Nightwatch does kind of tend to struggle on Arms Factory just because of the walls. We could definitely see a Nightwatch, though. But yeah. These first 2 picks are going to be interesting. Okay, yeah, we're definitely gearing up for a Dream Witch here. We're going to lock in that Barmaid as well as the Antiquarian. This could also counter a Hermit. Pretty much it. I mean, Antiquarian, much more multi-purpose, but Barmaid specifically, Hermit, Dream Witch, a little bit for other single hit hunters, but the thing is that Geisha, Bloody Queen, Night Watch can all catch up to the Dovlin, so it is a little bit more situational there. But we are going to lock in another Wildling here. So yeah, that Wildling is just kind of a Japan meta favorite. And an Acrobat. So yeah, this is definitely an anti-Dream Witch comp. So I'm wondering if Metal will still go Dream Witch. I would say probably not. We might go for, I mean, Hermit wouldn't be the worst choice here. Disciple wouldn't be bad. I'm thinking of hunters that can stop the Antiquarians, stop the Wildling. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. Because it's definitely a strong comp, but I feel like the vulnerability with the Wildling, as well as it being on a smaller map, the Wildling on bigger maps does have the advantage of, even if you're forcing all of your other teammates to decode, the map is big enough that the hunter, is kind of forced to chase the Wildling. But on a smaller map, like Arms Factory, you can just leave. It's much easier to just leave the Wildling alone. And yeah, Metal can definitely take advantage of that, but we are going to see that pick coming in sooner than later. Other two bans were Mercenary and Aeroplanus. It feels like, okay, we are going to go with the Dream Witch. So once again, we're seeing kind of this very confident Dream Witch coming out here in the face of her counters. So it's a risk, especially when YG is a little bit behind. But I guess if this is who Metal is most confident with, then it can work out. It's just a little, it's a little bit risky. But it can definitely pay off. I feel like it can definitely pay off. The bans here are so interesting to me, though. It feels like kind of this resurgence of, like, Koa 4 era meta, where you have all of these tanks and the Seer. I wonder if we actually, you know what? I'm gonna hold this thought, but that's something I want to talk about. But I'm going to hold it until after this match, but I'm going to write it down. Hold on. Okay, I wrote a note to myself to talk about that. But, yeah, we're going to see, looks like Barmaid might actually be our first chase. If Metal's able to play this well, then it's fine. If we're allowed, it's basically, so what Metal has to do here is basically exactly, what, LM's Dream Witch did in the final round of last match. Where, it's technically a strong chase, but as long as you're able to force the first hit with the spawn follower and have the leech continue to chase the Barmaid, you're pretty okay. It's still a big risk, especially since Barmaid can really just pallet spam, and call it a day, but that's the most ideal situation here if we do end up chasing Barmaid first, which I do feel like is the most ideal kind of chase, just because Antiquarian's annoying, Wildling's just going to get on the boar and be gone, and Acrobat. Acrobat on Arms Factory is, very hard to go against. Can break a lot of distance very quickly. But yeah, we are going to get right into it. YG, again, is at only a 2-point deficit, but did lose the first round. So there's that. But yeah, it does look like we are going to get onto the Barmaid for this first chase. That is Eclectic. Nice. I don't think we've actually seen Eclectic. Anyway, yeah, we're going to get the Leech on, but it looks like we're actually going to turn around here and go for the Antiquarian instead. A little bit unexpected, and definitely a little bit dangerous, I feel like, especially since, Antiquarian is Antiquarian, but switching again, heading back in the direction of this Barmaid, we might end up getting a Leech hit as our first hit, which would be bad. And that's definitely something we want to avoid here. A lot of pallet breaking, taking a bit of time here to really commit to a target. just a little bit of a risk, but if it pays off, then it pays off. You know, we did kind of see that. We've seen it happen before, and it can happen again. But getting that sandwich set up here, we are going to have that first hit be from the leech, but the spawn follower is nearby. It's just a matter of being able to catch up, caught in a little bit of an open area here. Barmaid, is she going to be able to play around this pallet? Yes. So close here, but the blink coming into play, not having Patroller here. It looks like we're actually carrying Insolence and Detention here with blink. So beautifully done here from Metal, just cutting off the Barmaid before she's able to get that heal off, which is just so dangerous for a Dream Witch, but nicely done getting that down. We're at 4 ciphers remaining here. The second of those first 2 ciphers, or wow, the second 2 ciphers that were started, are at around 60-70%, and we're going to open up a new cipher here. Wildling coming in for the rescue. Obvious, and again, you know, this is... We'll see what happens here with the Wildling having that unfinished cipher, but he is going to be able to get that rescue before half taking a hit in. We don't have the Psychologist here, and Barmaid is obviously being chased, so healing up that Wildling again is not going to be easy. It looks like Metal might be taking advantage of that, trying to get a double down, or at least to get another leech on the field, especially since, you know, Barmaid does have a leech, but she is going to be chaired once again, eventually, in theory, eliminated. So having a little bit of extra insurance, especially on the Wildling, who hasn't picked up a leech mark, can't de-leech just yet. So a little bit of insurance on the field for later on in the game. But hanging out around this chair, it looks like we might be on the lookout for the Antiquarian coming in as a support. Yes, it does look like she is coming in for the rescue here. And Wildling coming through with the support as well for that Tinnitus cancel. And Barmaid getting rescued out of range of the Dream Witch there. Just kind of looking away for half a second too long. And interesting flywheel. I feel like she was a little bit kind of trigger happy with that. Blink not up just yet. And Barmaid not taking the bait for it, though. Antiquarian still in the area here to harass. And that lack of blink here is really showing that 30 seconds cooldown isn't too long. But it can definitely hurt, especially like this. We have 2 ciphers remaining, but again, Wildling decoding here means that we haven't started or really significantly started that final cipher. But we are going to use blink to get a hit in on the Antiquarian. So Acrobat is going to be forced to rescue here, which slows down decoding even more because that is pulling somebody who's already on a cipher off of that cipher. But no, actually we can't rescue because Barmaid's dead. So my bad. But yeah, it does kind of leave us open to pressuring the ciphers. We're going to find the Wildling here. That cipher is the one that is almost prime. No, that is the cipher that was at 41%. So we are, not quite able to hit the Wildling off of the board. It's a little bit unfortunate. We are going to be forced to switch targets just a little bit here. It looks like we're going to try and sniff out the Antiquarian and the Acrobat, who are healing, so they are not going to be at that cipher. Metal heading towards the cipher, not going to pan out here. We are going to run directly into the Antiquarian. So yeah, she is going to come right through with that disarm immediately, so not quite able to do that. And the leech getting pallet stunned by the Wildling. Unfortunately, blink is in play, and he is just going to go straight down there. Metal does have to kind of hike across the map here, in order to catch up with the Wildling, though. So it does give him plenty of time to self-heal, and also gives a lot of time for the survivors to kind of re-up that decoding. This is the thing, you know, having 3 survivors left in a Dream Witch match does mean that the leeches get removed much faster, as well as there just being less opportunity for leeches overall. So it does there's a bit of a difficulty curve as we head into the later stages of a match, especially with a Dream Witch. But we do have a good cipher pressure position set up right here. Final cipher is on the same, area side of the map as where the Wildling is chaired. So we are able to kind of keep Dream Witch in a position where she can pressure both the chair and the cipher at the same time. So yeah, very nicely done here. And a lot of pressure here for these survivors. I think if we're able to draw, it wouldn't be too bad, but I do think that that's kind of the best case scenario here for Metal. But we are able to get the hit in on the Acrobat. That cipher is still not primed, and Acrobat wasting that flywheel, kind of a crucial misstep there. Not going to have that resource heading into the latter half of the match. We do have quite a few bombs left, though, so Acrobat does have a bit of containing potential there. But all 3 survivors have leech marks here, and that's not a position that you want to be in, especially in this later stage of the match. Wildling back on the board once again. We're going to have that final Cypher just stalling here at 81%. Again, we're getting into this Dreamwitch Cypher pressure game. Just making sure that these survivors cannot decode that final Cypher. And they have started decoding another Cypher here, though, so Dreamwitch is going to need to figure that out sooner or later. It's passing about 35% right now, which is not much, but with accelerated decoding, that can definitely catch up very quickly. Final Cypher is still at 81, but it looks like we are going to find the Acrobat here, and it's a very close Cypher. They're not quite Cypher locked, but they're close to being Cypher locked. If they're able to start the Cypher that's all the way across the map there, then they will be in a slightly better position, I would say, but it's just not a great position to be in no matter how you spin it. We are going to get Acrobat down, and here is where things get a little bit tricky. Survivors are going to be forced to reset. We're going to see Wildling healed up here. I will see if they decide to heal up the Antiquarian. It does not look like they will do that. They're going to let Wildling be kind of their full health tank here, while Antiquarian, they don't want to waste the time on healing Antiquarian, especially since, she's not leeched, she's relatively safe. She doesn't have any staff left, though, so no resources if she's found, but that's if she's found. We're going to get a hit in on Wildling. Antiquarian hasn't been able to make it back to a Cypher just yet, but hitting Wildling out of the boar. Nicely done there. I cannot quite remember if Wildling is dead on chair. I suppose we will find out very shortly. Antiquarian has been able to return that Cypher. Wildling does still have chair to sit on, but I do not think they're going to be able to make this rescue just because that Cypher is not yet primed. Chair is definitely going pretty quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if Metal has some control freak on that Persona web. And we have found the Antiquarian's final Cypher. Acrobat really coming in to pressure this, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Yeah, he is just going to be forced to bomb away here. And that is going to be at least a draw here. Antiquarian being forced off the Cypher once again and is going to be downed. No Acrobat in sight. This is looking like a 4-man elimination. We're going to just leave Antiquarian on the ground. Nicely done from Acrobat there. Beautiful mind game around that window. A little bit unfortunate that it wasn't a blink predict, but, kind of the same thing going on there. Are we going to chair Antiquarian is the real question. Because we don't have to. We can, but we don't really have to. We don't want to let her struggle free, though. Okay, we are going to chair her. Acrobat kind of making his way around to the chair, trying to get the rescue. Are we going to be able to get a rescue? No. Oh, but nice on the flywheel. Unfortunately, not quite enough time bought. That is going to be a Terror Shock and a 4-man elimination here for YG. That could have completely turned things around. Let me just mark that in. We're going to have 0 points for KT, and we're going to mark in that 5 points here for that 4-man elimination here from Metal. Bold to lock in with that Dreamwitch. Arms Factory is a very good map for her, but against that Barmaid, against, as tanky of a team that was, getting rid of those rescuers, though, and getting, not having Seer, not having Mercenary, Aeroplanist, getting rid of those, I think, was definitely the right choice here for Metal. Just really smart bans, not worrying so much about that Barmaid. Knowing that Wildling is going to impact the Cypher Rush pretty significantly. He did finish the Cypher. You know what? I'm a little bit proud of him for finishing that one Cypher. But yeah, Acrobat being forced to decode 300%, not a position that you really want to be left in. But yeah, just beautiful endgame pressure there from Metal. And that is going to be a great way for YG to start out round 1 here, or round 2. Really coming back from the brink, yeah, we're looking at that 0 to 5 points here. Again, they can close that gap in the second half of the round, but just, what a way to kind of boost the morale of your survivors heading into this. But I am going to go ahead. Let's see. I can find the right timestamp, I actually can't even see the numbers here because it's over the white on the screen. But yeah, I think that's about where we want to be. Skipping forward a little bit. All right, getting into this, we've got Seer and Wildling banned. Which, you know, I'm glad to see Wildling banned here. I am. Because I'm getting kind of tired of him. I just feel like there's better options than the Wildling. He's an intimidating pick, but what can he do? Is the thing. I feel like Batter. I like Batter. Aeroplanus was obviously banned in that situation, but I don't know. I feel like Wildling. He decodes slowly. He runs slowly when he's not on the board, and every time he uses the board, he gets less time on the board. It really is. Yeah, every region has their favorite rescuer. That's kind of a weird pick. But yeah. But I feel like Gravekeeper is better than Wildling just because you have the less of a decoding debuff. He gets picked a lot in grassroots tournaments. Like he gets picked a weird amount in grassroots tournaments, Andrew. But yeah, we are going to kind of ban out these Dream Witch picks again here. We're going to lock in the Psychologist and the Antiquarian. We're going to ban Mercenary, Barmaid, and Acrobat. So kind of immediately blocking the team comp from the previous round, more or less at least. But we are going to see the first officer locked in here, you know, kind of looking at that Mercenary ban and going, okay, we'll do you one better. And having the first officer still on the table, especially if we do end up heading to round 3, is great. And a Cheerleader coming out here as well. This is a team you don't want to play Dream Witch against. Because Cheerleader is basically Wildling, but with less of a decoding debuff. Pretty much. If you think about it. She still has harassing potential. She goes really fast and you can't chase her. And then she gets really slow and you can hit her very easily. And a lot of the time when you get a Cheerleader pick and you're in like Elk, you're going to go, oh god, this is going to go terribly. And it's like Wildling and Cheerleader, they're basically the same character. But also Cheerleader is just objectively slightly better because she has half the decoding debuff. She still has 15% decoding debuff, but that's better than 30%. So yeah, I am a Cheerleader advocate. Ooh, but we are going to go with a Clerk pick here. That is a very strong pick, especially for this map. And we haven't seen a lot of Clerks, especially we've seen a lot of Clerks in NAEU. NAEU really likes the Clerk still, and I would definitely expect to see her in KOA qualifiers. There's a lot of teams that have kind of, god, they gave her some physics, that's for sure. Sorry. But yeah, I'm excited to see the Clerk here because we see her a little bit. I mean, I know Hasha has a crazy Clerk on Fennel, but other than that, you know, we don't really see the Clerk in competitive as much anymore. But I'm excited to see a Clerk. I always love seeing Clerk gameplay, and we're kind of looking at that same situation here that we see with a Dream Witch. A lot of Cypher pressure, a lot of map game, and just really, you know, keeping survivors on their toes, disrupting the decoding. I feel like there's a lot of 4K potential here to really tie things up. But with this comp, I feel like Cheerleader, you can't really counter Cheerleader though. I mean, you can and you can't. You can lock her off, but she can still run in a straight line. There's not really like, you know, I feel like Cheerleader's most effective counters are Hermit and Disciple, really, because you can just kind of stop her. Any Hunter, Wax Artist as well, because, you know, she can't run. Any situation you can get Cheerleader in where she can't run away is good. And you can definitely do that with Clerk. You can kind of, like, lock her in, like in the factory or in the shack if you use kind of your, recordings well. You can lock her in. It's just much more difficult to do that, and you're not a stun hunter. But, oh, that's another thing I want to talk about. I need to just, like, I don't know. I need to do something where I talk about things that I want to talk about that, like, are kind of relevant to comp. but not really. Anyway. Yeah, we are going to get right into it. Nice use of the S tier accessory with, I think this is worn clothes, but yeah, getting right into things. It looks like we might be finding cheerleader. No, we're heading towards the center here with, or heading towards the factory here where Antiquarian is. So immediately getting that vault recording, it does look like we have confined space here. So really, you know, what I was talking about before, with the locking the cheerleader in, that confined space is definitely here to do just that. But a little bit of camera tricking here, trying to find the Antiquarian, getting that recording in on her as well, so she's not going to be able to at least comfortably drop the pallets. And that vault recording coming through here. Antiquarian still using a lot of that stick here, though, just to keep up that speed boost. And immediately, here we are with the first disarm. But we've already used over half the stick. We've used quite a bit of that flute. And, oh, nice work, though, playing around there, getting that disarm in just momentarily. And we are going to get our first hit in, though, with a bit of a failed flywheel. Already, that stick is nearly out of juice. We're just going to use a little bit more of it to try and get that speed boost. But yeah, that was a lot of stick to utilize on that first chase here. And a beautiful blink in here right before the first officer can come and body block. That is going to be a down and right on top of where the first officer was decoding. So not great in that case. But it's not the worst time to get down. I mean, we do have basically one cipher complete, but forcing another cipher to be opened here. Oh, that was interesting. Dropping that pallet there with the recording and then forcing it to, so that you can break it. That was smart. You know, just kind of eliminating it for the future. But first officer coming in for this rescue here. We're just going to use the hit right away, but he does still have that pocket watch. Not forcing on the pocket watch here is a little bit unfortunate. But also great discipline from the first officer, not using the pocket watch right away. And just, you know, really kind of working there to conserve resources. But that is going to be a hit in on the Antiquarian. A little bit unfortunate that the dropping the pallet in her face didn't quite work as a Terror Shock. But she is still down here. We have 4 ciphers remaining. All 4 ciphers have been started. Only one of them has really passed 50%, though. 2 of them now have passed 50%. So yeah, we're not in the worst situation here, especially for a clerk. Once she's able to get her first elimination, the cipher disruption can get a lot smoother. So she is still in a good position here to, at the very least, well, I mean, she does need a 4-man elimination. But it is possible with Clerk, because even if she's not able to control as much the ciphers, she can definitely control the gates. But we are going to get first officer down. First officer wasting a lot of time here, keeping the Antiquarian alive. Looks like we are just going to opt to chair the first officer. Antiquarian able to get a lot of distance here. I would say best case scenario, we catch up to Antiquarian later. But not great here to lose the Antiquarian, especially with no teleport. Even knowing where the Antiquarian is, you can't really do anything about it. She's just kind of forced to camp the first officer here, but we are still at 4 ciphers remaining. We're at 3 ciphers now, but we're not in the worst situation still. Forcing cheerleader to go away here, but blocking her off again, and but a beautiful flywheel. She is going to get hit through the window, though. That was very, very nicely done. Kind of wasting that flywheel as well, or at least forcing her to use that flywheel, send it into cooldown, sending her cheer into cooldown as well. Nicely done there from Ideshi. It really is just a game of forcing survivors to use their resources. And once they've used their resources, you know, kind of trying to work with them then. But not quite getting that recording in on Antiquarian. She is just kind of free to decode over there. We have 2 ciphers remaining. Both of those ciphers are at around 50%. So a little bit, I feel like we might have switched targets a little too much here. We're going to send that blink into cooldown here, and get the cheerleader down fairly quickly. But I feel like we might just be trying to gear up to a late game snowball here, which is definitely possible. But with, okay, this is going to be interesting. So healing up the first officer does mean that they're going to be able to get this rescue off, but I feel like that may have been the wrong choice. I feel like, because the thing is, YG only needs one survivor out the gate right now in order to win. But I feel like they could have probably sold the cheerleader here and just focused on trying to get the ciphers done, but allowing the clerk to kind of have this control, getting that double, or giving her the double down, not even getting the double down, giving her the double down by downing the psychologist is just not great here. And it looks like Clerk either knows where the psychologist fell or is at least, like, you know, aware of where the psychologist fell. Psychologist has to use her self-heal here, and she's still well within range. So yeah, it's not ideal. For this end game here, for them to kind of be stuck in this situation where all of them are injured. They still have 2 ciphers remaining. Both of those ciphers have quite a bit of progress left on them. They are going to start a 3rd cipher here, but they're not going to be able to rescue the first officers. That is going to be our first elimination here. But yeah, I feel like I understand the thought process of healing up the first officer there to go for that rescue, but it was really, you know, because they only need one survivor out the gate, it would have been smarter to conserve resources, kind of use that chair time for the cheerleader, or at least at any point, just use the chair time to heal rather than, and focus on decoding rather than going in for the rescue, you know, getting within range of the hunter, and kind of allowing her the elimination. But we are going to see, it looks like Antiquarian kind of trying to play mind games with that perfume. Unfortunately, not really able to make full use of it because, again, we are all at half health. But getting those decoding recordings on the survivors here. Not quite able to down the Antiquarian just yet, but I think almost all of the survivors here are dead on chair, or at least have been chaired before. And Psychologist has used her self-heal, but nicely done with that pallet there, locking it off from use. We are at 1 cipher remaining, and that cipher is at around 80% here. Cheerleader trying not to get recorded, and just trying to get as much progress on that cipher as possible. I think they can definitely make it to a cipher pop here. Edeshi hasn't really been conserving those recordings to use, but the problem is, yeah, we're now at 2 survivors eliminated. We're already at a draw. They just need 1 survivor out the gate, but with 1 cipher remaining here, only 2 survivors. Both of them are injured. No chance to self-heal. Neither of them have items that they can drop. It's very, very dangerous in this situation. But Psychologist working on that cipher, almost able to get it to 80% here. Cheerleader being recorded, but that cipher is at 91%. I think they'll be able to get it to a cipher pop, which does increase their chances of getting 1 man out. It's a little tight. Oh, but missing that hit there. Psychologist missing another hit as well. Cheerleader hasn't been able to decode just yet, though. Psychologist is going to go down. It looks like Cheerleader actually left the cipher behind. But Psychologist has used her self-heal already, so Clerk does not have to worry about leaving her on the ground. She can just do that. And here is where, yeah, this is basically checkmate. For the survivors, because they can't decode. Psychologist has already used her self-heal. Clark knows where Dungeon is. Yeah, that's game over. Completely game. That's GG's for KT here. Going to, I mean, unless something crazy happens, which it definitely could. I'm gonna skip through this just because we do kind of know how things are going to go at this point. Yeah, we have found the cheerleader here. Going to chase the cheerleader. She does still have 2 pom-poms left to use, but like big deal. Yep, there we go. Cornering her like that. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Locking off that vault point. Just nicely done. We're going to immediately pick that up, and yep, no chance. That is going to be a 4-man elimination here, unless, okay, it does look like Psychologist is going to crawl over to Dungeon, so we're just going to kind of leave her up there. Yeah, they're going to drag this out. Cheerleader used her self-heal. They're going to drag this out as long as possible, because if they're able to get that 1-man escape, then, like, great, they win the round. But yeah, it's just not, you know, it's not really in the cards, at least in my opinion. But we are going to have Flywheel back up by the time we're able to find Cheerleader. All right, looks like we've gotten crows on cheerleader, but are we going to be able... We're going to use the... No, the attack recording not quite going to work, but the rescue on the psychologist. They are trying. I mean, and I respect it. They have no choice. They have to try and win this. Nice discipline on that vault here from cheerleader. Somehow not even getting hit. But... If Psychologist is hit here, it's a little bit unfortunate that Cheerleader is taking this kite. If Psychologist gets hit here, then she would be eliminated. Cheerleader might be able to get dungeon that way. Playing around this palette, trying to get that recording, playing with the recording, not quite able to, but the Cypher was primed. We're going to go into that pop. And wow, just absolutely incredible work here by YG Survivors, just extending this match for so long. Playing around this palette once again. Psychologist hasn't been able to make it to either gate. Now we're in a bit of a situation here once again. Cheerleader hasn't been down yet, or has been down, but hasn't really bled out yet, hasn't used her self-heal. And it does look like Psychologist kind of playing around the other side of the map, but she's dead on hit, essentially. She bled out enough where if she gets hit, she's very likely just going to die immediately. Cheerleader is obviously down, but... Yeah, I'm going to start fast forwarding again, just in the interest of time and energy, and sitting through this incredibly long match. We're at 14 minutes here, for this match, which is, you know what? Normal. This is a very normal average length clerk match, especially on Arms Factory. It's kind of, you know, I feel like it's also kind of why. Oh, but nicely done with that attack, dealing a full half hit of damage just because it was a recorded detention hit. But Cheerleader knows it. Cheerleader knows. If Psychologist did go down, that was very smart here. If Psychologist had gone down, Cheerleader would have been able to get dungeon. But no, we're not going to let that happen. We're going to go ahead and share the Cheerleader here. Psychologist is in the center of the map. I think, is Cheerleader dead on share? Oh, but Psychologist may have shown herself too much. It looks like Hideshi knows exactly where she is. This is just incredible how long they've been able to kind of stretch this match for. And I would say Cheerleader might actually be back on dungeon. Cheerleader's crawling back towards dungeon, that's for sure. Are we going to go so far as to let the Cheerleader struggle free? If they're able, they might actually be able to get one man escape out of this. But I don't know how. Looks like Psychologist is playing around that gate, trying to kind of get it open as little by little by little. We're going to continue the chase on the Cheerleader. She is slow right now. We can catch up here, but... Oh, but she is going to go down. She hasn't quite bled out yet, so there is definitely still a lot of time she can stay on the ground for. We do know where Psychologist is. So, oh my god. Ugh. What a match. 16 minutes right now. I'm taking a sip of water. Not wanting to get this hit. What are we doing here? Oh, we're waiting for Cheerleader to bleed out so that she can't get dungeon when Psychologist goes down. That's kind of incredible. Yeah, we're forcing the 4-man by any means necessary. Oh, but Hideshi has to be careful. We're running straight towards the dungeon. And no, that is going to be that 4-man elimination at 17 minutes of a match. Wow. Just so well played. Even the casters are clapping at that. Yeah, no, I think like collective emotions there of just wow. That is how you stretch a match though, and that is why I was so excited to see that clerk locked in, because she has the capability to stretch the match that far. And just look at how long this graph is. It goes all the way up to 16 minutes. halfway through, not even halfway through yet, was when the second cipher popped. Final cipher popped, and then a solid like 4 minutes of endgame. That's just incredible. And just what the amount of just patience and control that takes to kind of lock in for 17 minutes. Like, I don't know, average rank match, average like stupid rank match is like 10. Yeah, it's just, it's incredible. Just incredibly done. And that is going to be a tie here. KT refusing to give up that lead from the first round here. We're going to have 0-5, 5-0. And that's going to be evenly matched for both teams. We're going to continue into round 3 with KT in the lead. So, yeah, let me get to that round 3 map pick here. We're working with just the map pick, no ban, and I don't know who has the pick right now. Yeah, we're working at 10-8 right now, with continuing that 1 round 1 tie. And YG does have the map pick, and they're going to pick Chinatown. So we're going into another round 3 on Chinatown. I feel like that is kind of just a popular round 3 map, especially since it can't get banned. But Chinatown is kind of that round 3 map right now because it is so strong for so many hunters. And it really does kind of leave things open for Adeshi right now. And it kind of puts the survivors in a rock and a hard place. You know, they have to ban Opera Singer and Clerk. They don't really have a choice but to ban Opera Singer and Clerk, which leaves Geisha, Wax Artist, Bloody Queen, Hermit, Disciple, Night Watch. How many others? You know, Axe Boy, God forbid a Lizard, you know. I'm not gonna get my hopes up for a Lizard, especially with kind of the playstyle of these hunters doesn't really match up to a Lizard pick. I mean, I guess it kind of does because it is hyper-aggressive. Oh, but we're actually going to not ban that Clerk. We're going to ban the Dream Witch instead, which, you know what, understandable. And immediately locking in that Explorer to kind of try and counter. Why? What do you mean sex-based terms? Bones Lizard is sex-based terms? I'm It gave me the Automod message, and it flagged Bones Lizard. Oh my god. That's so funny, actually. I don't know why Charles is walking 3 miles behind the rest of the survivors, but hey, it's fine. Yeah, wow. Anyway, that completely threw me off. We're going to ban Mercenary and Priestess first, looking like my rank bans here, locking in the Explorer and the Aeroplanist, and as well as the First Officer. So we're looking at a very tanky team here. This goes back. This is beautiful. This segues exactly into what I was trying to talk about earlier with the return of Koa 4 meta in order to counter the resurgence of single-hit hunters. Because who was meta during Koa 4? We had Axe Boy, Bloody Queen, Geisha, Dream Witch. You know, that was kind of the top of the top. And those are, you know, single hit hunters. I mean, Axe Boy is a double hit, but like, you know, it was kind of the single hit hunter meta as well as, you know, once you ban the Sculptor. And so you have all of these very tanky survivors, and you know, this is basically the modern Koa 4 comp. You have 2 basically tank rescuers. You have Aeroplanist, you have First Officer, you have Coordinator as your stunner, and then you have Explorer to just kind of sneak around and decode. This is just modern Koa 4. And we've been seeing, I feel like with Matthias, I don't know how you pronounce that, full admission, he's countered by chip hit hunters. He's countered by Poland. He's countered by Hermit. He's countered basically any way that you can like indirectly deal damage to him. He's countered by. So I feel like maybe we might see chip hit returning to the meta, because I feel like it is kind of like this pendulum of whether or not chip hits are meta. Stop it, auto-modded again. I mean, like, I added it to permitted terms. I think it's because you put the quote, like, the quotes first, that it, like, didn't register it. That's so funny. It hates boning lizards. But, yeah. Anyway, back to the match at hand. We've got, Geisha Lock, which is not bad. I feel like the way, I know what it means, okay? I promise you guys, I know what it... Stop it! Anytime you type it differently, it makes me add a new permitted term. Thanks, guys. But yeah, it's like the actionable tense or whatever. I don't know. That's so funny. Anyway, it's like a asterisk roleplay kind of thing. Bones Lizard. Anyway, back to, okay, we're gonna get back into business here. I think what KT is doing right now, is exactly what LM was doing in, the previous round. So, yeah. They're looking for a tie. If they're able to maintain a tie, it means that they maintain their lead because they're already in the lead. YG is looking for a win. If they don't win, it's over. If they tie, it's over. They have to win. So, you know, no pressure. But a lot less pressure on KT because they really just need to get a tie. Or a win, you know? Win would be great, tie would be okay. But as long as they're just able to, you know, play as much as possible here, obviously, but sending out their Hunter first, not bad. But we are seeing... our first hit has already gone off on Coordinator, and it doesn't look like we have excitement. We are actually carrying Blink here. So, I'm wondering, we're trying to bait out the Blink here. It looks like Coordinator kind of playing around this palette, but it's a bit of a dangerous position because I think you might be able to get a fall hit here. No, a little bit over. Coordinator is going to be able to take this vault and also knows that Geisha does not have excitement, and that gun is going to go off. Very nicely played here from Coordinator. Just, you know, keeping that mind game up. And I was gonna say, I felt like that would be a little bit too far with the Blink. That the Blink would take you to the second flight of stairs, but I guess just a little bit of a miscalculation there from Hideshi, and that is going to be huge here for the Survivor containment. Not a lot of Cypher progress, though. We're really only seeing First Officer able to commit to a Cypher. It looks like the other two Cypher progresses have kind of been disrupted, but yeah, Coordinator is going to go down here, and oh, okay, never mind, Cypher weren't disrupted, it was just Explorer. I always forget about that, because Cypher progress does always look deceptively slow during an Explorer match, because it takes him, you know, a significant amount of time to really get those pages, but once he's able to get the pages, you're good. And it looks like we are actually carrying double Tide Turner as well, so that's a very good choice here, and a very kind of aggressive Survivor comp here, too, just to waste as much time as possible. And Explorer looks like he is actually going to come in for this rescue kind of stealthily. Hideshi definitely on the lookout for a First Officer, but Explorer going to reveal himself and not looking to get terror shocked here, is just going to go ahead and take the hit for a much safer rescue. And yeah, Coordinator is going to be able to continue this chase, playing around this pallet a little bit, but dangerous, not quite enough time to get that vault off. Coordinator is going to go down here. Are we really going to drop that pallet? Please don't drop that. Okay. We're not going to drop the pallet, but we are going to allow an extra hit to go through, which is, you know, not ideal. But I think she was already at full presence either way. Coordinator kind of in this corner here. Coordinator. That was bad. I'm sorry. It was very bad. Yeah, we have two Cyphers remaining here. Both of them have pretty much just been started, but I can't quite see. I don't think Explorer has any pages right now. But we do have a full health First Officer coming in for the rescue immediately. Pocket watching here. A little bit less daring than the previous match. You know, this is the same First Officer that went in kind of no pocket watch, you know, Hail Mary. But we are going to get that rescue off here with another hit. They are being very kind of conservative with these rescues, you know, waiting for that hit to go through. But unfortunately, the spiraling not quite going to work out. Coordinator is going to take that hit. First Officer not able to body block here. And with no harassers on the team, this is going to be at least one confirmed elimination. So obviously, you know, this is setting the stage for round 3. If Ideshi is able to 4-man elimination here, then it would be over immediately. But I don't think that's going to happen. We have both ciphers being primed at basically the same time, and I wouldn't be surprised. Yep, they are just going to pop it with, you know, Ideshi pretty much distracted. They should be able to get a tie out of this unless something crazy happens. And it looks like something crazy might happen, though, because both the aeroplanist and the first officer are over here. It does not look like Explorer has been able to make it to the other exit gate yet, but it looks like he's working on it. Or at least working on getting there. So, yeah, they are in a pretty good position here. It looks like he might actually just be hiding out over there, waiting for, to see if Ideshi commits to a target. As soon as Ideshi commits to a target, those gates are going to be open. But yep, that's exactly what they were waiting for. Just trying to bait out that teleport switch. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So nicely done here by YG Survivors. And they're really just going to play the long game. You know, they are already at that other exit gate, and Ideshi knows it. That is the Explorer giving tinnitus and is immediately going to switch targets, and that is immediately going to be communicated to the other members of the team. Aeroplanist using the jetpack to get even further away from that gate. Ideshi knows no one's there, so is going to just go back to this. This is such great endgame pressure here with that Explorer. So good. Just really, really, yeah, Michi, you are the only person able to play Akechi. The only Persona 5 fan with rights. But yeah, this is just gorgeous, gorgeous endgame pressure here. Basically just textbook endgame pressure with that Explorer to give tinnitus at the gate. Both the first officer and the aeroplanist have been able to make it to the opposite gate, and Explorer on his way to the dungeon. Are they going to be able to make it out on time? I don't think so. Yeah, Explorer didn't have flywheel. If Explorer had flywheel there, that would have been an escape. That would have been GG's, and that would have been a 3-man escape. A little bit unfortunate that he didn't, but you know, it is what it is. That Tide Turner definitely played its role. So, you know, it is what it is. But that is a draw here. So it really is just, you know, it's win or lose in this next round, or in this next match. Or next game. Ugh. But yeah, that is going to be 2-0, 2-0. There we go. Yep, that is going to be it for the first round. But yeah, that endgame pressure, you know, I keep saying that, but it is true that was just such good pressure. Having both survivors at the gate. Aeroplanist using the jetpack to get away from the gate as well so Ideshi wouldn't see him. Beautiful. Just so well coordinated, so well done here. And just the strength of YG Survivors, because Ideshi is a scary, scary hunter. And we've seen, you know, that skill. But I think the blink mishap at the beginning of the game, I feel like we could have been in 4-man situation if the blink hadn't really gone that way. But that did just extend Coordinator's containment by so much. And just really, really worked out there for YG. But yeah, getting into the second... oh my goodness. Am I going to be able to get the timestamp right or no? All right, there we go. Getting into round 3, second half here. If it's a tie, then KT wins. Metal needs to at very least 3K, if not 4K. But any other result will be KT's victory. So, you know, no pressure. Well, not no pressure, but like pressure for KT because they need to get a draw at least. But a draw is kind of, you know, the least worst scenario here. It's doable. It's very doable against basically any hunter. But Metal is just gonna have to be, you know, on top of things. And we've seen it, you know, it's possible. They have to ban Dream Witch here. They have no choice. But that does leave open Geisha, Clerk, Nightwatch, Axeboy, again, you know, all of the Hermit, all of these hunters that are very, very Clown, all these hunters that are very, very strong on Chinatown. You know, I could just keep going. I can do this all day. And yep, looks like they're very conscious of that Clown being on the table with the Embalmer and, well, not so much the Embalmer. They just need to get as many survivors at the gate as possible. That's why Embalmer's here. And Clown looking at the Entomologist. Hermit looking at the Entomologist. You know, just these hunters that are so so vulnerable. Axeboy, Entomologist, you know. it lowers the chances. Obviously, we did see the entomologist not deterring a clown pick, but you know, for better or for worse, and I would say that was for worse in that situation. So yeah, I would say hopefully clown is off the table here. But we could definitely still see any myriad of other hunters. We're going to see the acrobat pick kind of to counter that night watch if we end up seeing a night watch. And also just, you know, never a bad thing to have on the team. Acrobat, always valuable, very, very strong. And with a psychologist ban, I feel like we might be looking at a single hit hunter, possibly a geisha. Forward is going to be our final pick, and I would say that's not something I really want to see from KT. They are a very aggressive team. So that the entomologist in the forward here feels very support heavy. This is another kind of play keep away with the embalmer comp, but I feel like forward's definitely a better kind of vehicle for this than Wildling, quite literally. Because, you know, he's an active harasser. He's not really a passive harasser like Wildling is. He's very direct, like direct to chair harasser. So yeah, I feel like I want to see a batter. I do. I just want to see a batter. Because I feel like batter is just so much more versatile than forward, versatile than Wildling, that I want to see batter played more. And like he is kind of, you know, tetchy with his aim, so I understand why he's not. Forward's kind of a little bit more guaranteed. You know, if you aim badly, that's entirely your fault and not the game deciding to spawn pixels in weird places. That didn't pick up, did it? Cat's mad at me. Okay, we are going to go with Night Watch, which is a little bit risky. I am going to step away for a second so that my cat doesn't eat me. Okay, Lola has been relocated. She was sleeping. I have a cat, which I probably mentioned before, but in case you haven't heard about my cat before, I have a cat. She's very cute. She was sleeping on my bed this whole time, and then she woke up because it's time for her to be fed-ish. So, yeah. Had to let her out before she ate me instead of her food. I feel like she would probably do that if she was given the opportunity. But yeah, getting into things, it looks like I feel like I'm worried about Night Watch. Because Night Watch, well, it is Night Watch on Chinatown, so it's definitely possible that this could work out very well. But on the same hand, Night Watch is a very, you know, guaranteed draw kind of hunter, a little bit vulnerable to harassment, a little bit vulnerable, especially to entomologist harassment. Kind of teammate harassment, not so much like, you know, kiting. He can yank her out of the bees, but bees coming through, you know, midway through the wind, it's kind of a death sentence. Acrobat can just bomb out of the way of the wind. And we're seeing Embalmer, who is the most... I hold on, I need to go back for a second, because with the spawn, it's very... I mean, it's not very obvious, but it's kind of obvious that, like, this is where they want you to spawn. And this can work against KT. Because, I don't know, can you guys even see my mouse, actually, when I put it up there? I don't know if you can. But... all three of those survivors spawning basically around that corner means it's like, hey, spawn here. You know Embalmer is going to be in the hotel. Embalmer always spawns in hotel because he needs somewhere to put his coffin. So spawning, you know, clear across the map, it can work because Embalmer's Cypher is going to be locked off. But you know, you're also going to run into literally everybody else before you get to the Embalmer. So it's kind of, you know, it's a double-edged sword. You're kind of playing into KT's hands by doing that because they definitely expected Nightwatch to spawn there. So yeah, it's a little bit questionable. But I feel like, you know, kind of counter-rotating here from Metal could work out. But we are going to get right into things. Again, KT needs minimum draw. YG needs minimum 3-man elimination in order to, I think it's win-loss situation here. They might be able to tie the points. I haven't been keeping track of the point totals. I feel like that might come back to bite me. But it's okay. We're good. If this goes to round 4, then I'm scared. But yeah, we are going to see, looks like we are actually going to sniff out that Embalmer. Almost. We nearly caught sight of him, but it doesn't look like Metal actually saw. We've got the coffin here, but of course, no Embalmer in sight, and it looks like we're actually bringing Insolence and Trump cards, so no detention here. We're going to get so turned around that we've actually run into, yeah, this is what I said, you're going to hit everybody else before you hit the Embalmer. But he was so close to seeing that Embalmer, and it just didn't happen, so that's just so unfortunate there. But very, very good here for KT. And yeah, this containment is just going to go to the Entomologist, which isn't the worst case scenario. Forward is in the area though, so that is something that, you know, we're going to have to look out for. No detention here, I feel like, is a little bit bold. Especially because, you know, you need a 3-man elimination. You can't just settle for a draw. Yeah, it's a little bit dangerous, but I feel like it can work, especially on Chinatown. We do have basement here. But we're not going to go to it first because we do want to bait the survivors out. Again, you know, you don't want to draw. Basement does guarantee a draw, but it also guarantees a draw, you know? If you chair in basement, they're much less likely to rescue until after half, but it means that you can't get, you know, the hit in on the forward, or it's harder to get the hit in. But we are going to kind of pressure this a little bit, yanking forward back, but it's unfortunately going to still be a before half rescue. We don't have Blink in play. That's already been used. So we really just have the wind. We are nearly at presence, but nicely done from forward, going ahead and knocking Nightwatch out of that vault. It's going to take a lot more time to catch up to the Entomologist now. We're nearly out. We're going to just kind of keep it this sort of tenuous spot of only having one charge here, and that's immediately going to be wasted with that dash that kind of just went directly into the wall. Dungeon has spawned right on top of where the Entomologist is kiting. We're going to get rid of those bees, but unfortunately not quite able to go through. This is not a good area to be in. Entomologist not getting pulled back by that wind is just going to get stuck. And are we going to be able to get this hit in here? No. Entomologist getting that vault off. This is becoming a dangerously long containment. We have 3 ciphers remaining. 4 of them have been started. And Entomologist is going to go down here. She does still have another chair to sit on as well, so that's even more progress. We might go to basement for this one. No, we're going to stay above basement here, trying to get that stuffed rescue, I would say, and then move to basement. Or we could just not use basement at all. I mean, it's entirely up to Metal here. But unfortunately not able to get that hit in on the forward. Looks like Acrobat coming in for the rescue now. We do have the wind up, nicely done with that wind, and staying right outside of the range of that pallet. And yeah, Acrobat able to get that rescue, beautifully done, but unfortunately not able to get Entomologist up. But forward, are we going to see forward coming in for this? I feel like probably not, just because, yeah, forward's not going to come into this. They still need to get the draw, you know? As good of a position as KT is in right now, they need to maintain that position and not put it at risk. So not having forward come in is, you know, it's better for forward to not come in here and risk getting hit and a double down situation, and then, you know, it would snowball from there. They have a lot of decoding progress here, but they need to be a little bit careful coming into the latter half of the match. But we are going to find the Embalmer here. A little bit interesting that we're going for the Embalmer at this point and not for one of the others. I would say the strategy right now is to make sure that they can't comfortably rescue. And to comfortably rescue, they'll need to bring out, they'll need to heal. But Embalmer does have insurance. So I do think that they are, well, no, they haven't reset yet, but I think that they're going to need to reset before they do anything else. And it does look like they're in a position to do that. Metal, I think, may have seen where they went. No. Yes, we are able to track down that forward here, and that's a pretty good situation to be in. Forward forced to use a little more ball. I don't think he's out of ball just yet, but playing a little bit around this palette. Blink is up if we want to use it, but I do think Metal might want to just conserve it. Yeah, looking a little bit like we're switching to teleport, but not quite yet. But we're moving like we're going to switch to teleport. We're keeping an eye on those ciphers. And not using the blink yet here is pretty telling as well. But heading over to the Acrobat, we've got one cipher remaining. And the cipher being worked on now is, thankfully for Metal, the one at least power here. We've got 27% and counting. Nice use of that bomb, not wanting to risk the Terror Shock. Nicely done. We're going to get into that Ice Bomb here, but unfortunately not quite able to make it to that pallet in time. Acrobat not having any balls left to use, or balls on cooldown, let's say that. And we are just going to switch targets. We're going to leave Acrobat on the ground here, not wanting to go ahead and chair him. I feel like we could afford to chair in this situation. But if Metal is just really trying to kind of stretch things out. But a pallet stun here, not going to be able to chair down the forward, but teleport coming into play. We've got Embalmer here, who does not have a coffin, immediately going down as well. He's going to be on his second chair, which is very good here for Metal. But, okay, we are going to go to basement here. I think we're getting a little bit scared of this rescuing. We do have teleport now, which does mean we can secure a 3-man elimination if we stretch. It's not going to be easy. I think the biggest issue right now is going to be just, I don't know. I think we might be in a winning position here. Bare minimum draw. Dungeon is also right here. Everything's happening right over this basement. But getting stuck there. Acrobat's going to be able to pop the cipher. We're not going to be able to make it to Embalmer in time, so this is automatically going to be a draw. But I think YG might actually be able to win this. Yeah, just with that endgame pressure, having damage on all members of the team, they were able to pop the cipher, but I think with this hit... but Nightwatch doesn't have detention! And Acrobat heading right back to this area. If we're able to just kite for long enough here, that gate is open. Acrobat, is he going to... Oh my goodness! Able to get that escape at the last possible second, and KT is going to win! Oh my goodness, that was so close to being a win for YG. If that hit had just gone off at a slightly different angle, if forward had just been a little bit slower on making it to the gate, so many variables in that last moment of the... Yeah, it's been a long one there, but yeah, just absolutely incredible. Yeah, that's the thing, if Nightwatch had detention there, but I don't think Nightwatch would have been able to extend it that far if he hadn't switched to teleport when he did. I think that the teleport was crucial there, so it was really just luck. Pure, unfiltered luck there. I'm at kind of a dilemma here, though. Though I do think, you know what? No. We've been going for 3 hours now, and I think I've held you prisoner for long enough. So I'm not going to do the third match today. I am just going to leave that for later. And yeah, so that, I mean, you guys are also kind of being held prisoner too, but yeah, I am going to call the stream there. I did want to get to the third match today, but it's fine. I have time to stream for the next couple days as well, so I definitely want to stream Hunter rank as well. I've been ranking with Hermit, because I was like, I'm not that good. I don't really want to bring him on main just yet. And then I did bring him on main, and I'm in the 600s, and I've played like 6 matches. So it's not hard. Hermit badges kind of have like a low kind of shelf, so yeah. Uh yeah. It's I'll probably I might stream that tomorrow. I might stream it Sunday. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But next week we'll finish up IVT. I'll try to get a couple hundred, maybe 1 or 2 streams in between. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this was fun. Those are some insane matches. I'm gonna try and like fix the scorecard. I feel like that's not the best it could be. But we'll work on it. It's a work in progress. And yeah, again, yeah, thank you guys, and I will see you later.